I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you are.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? Hey, I'm sorry I can't do a normal stream, so I'm going to try and make this as close to a normal stream as I can. So, to give you an idea, just quick synopsis of the last week, it's been pretty rough. So, last Thursday, I'm pretty sure is when this actually happened, our heat went out. We didn't really recognize it until Friday evening because we both work, and being a holiday weekend, it was super great trying to get just trying to get people in here to try and fix it. It didn't end up getting fixed till Wednesday, which was great for about almost 24 hours, because shortly after that on Thursday, I ended up losing internet because it decided to switch over my service, which I will have better service coming up whenever it does actually get hooked up properly. So stream quality might go up marginally. Don't expect much. I'm still a scuff streamer. But I did want to put this show together because I figured, even though I don't have good enough internet to like actually stream this like I normally would, I think it will work out to where you guys will get this weekend. So I'm going to do this as if it is my stream. It's a little early for me. It's 9:20 right now. So, I mean, I'm literally trying to honor this as best I can and give you guys what I try and promise you every week. So this week we're going to be going over some interesting stuff, and I know I'm going to miss having my chat. I'm not going to have Teddy. I'm not going to have Jim. I'm not going to have anybody here to just distract me. So I have no idea how quick or slow this is going to go. This is all we're gonna cover an interesting individual this week. So the person that we're covering is not Call Me Carson. Call Me Carson is involved with this, though. The person that we're looking into is Ryan P. And in case you've been in a cave the past couple weeks or so, you might have heard about this guy. He does YouTube videos once in a while. His name's called CoffeeZilla. He's done some amazing videos. I should have had his page pulled up. He's done some really good videos on Logan Paul, but this is the video we're going to be really digging into, and it is on this gentleman Ryan P, who is a creator manager, is probably the best way to explain him. He's also got some ties to some other creators, some not as lascivious as others, but it's otherwise a very interesting story. Going over CoffeeZilla's page here, he is a big deal. He 3.3 million subscribers, 500 videos, so, and he does these like true crime type videos. He really does try to do thorough investigations.
Logan
His
Paul is
biggest one would be on Logan Paul. But I want to show you his full library here. We'll get rid of this. And just show you some of the people he's gone over. We're going to get into some of his Twitter as well, because there's some really great information on there that I feel like didn't make it into the video the way it's going to make it into my video. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, he's covered Logan Paul quite substantially. Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX stuff. Oh god, I'm trying to think of what other big stories he's covered. Um, the gambling being banned on Twitch was a big story that he covered. Um, yeah, I mean, you can see he kind of covers more like financial crimes, cryptocurrencies and things like that. NFTs. He's got some just like, if you're interested in any of this stuff, please go check him out. I'm sure you'll find something you enjoy. I'm surprised that he's not looked into the completionist thing, but that might be because it's kind of new and it wasn't something that was on his radar. That was more of a Mutahar, some ordinary gamers thing. The Binance stuff, more Sam Bankman Fried. Yeah, I mean, so I don't want to waste a whole lot of time. Obviously, he's not going to gain a whole lot from me just shouting his channel out, but I do really like his content. I also come from like, I love that American greed type financial history stuff, so it's a big interest to me. So we're gonna go over a bit. What? That is not correct. You are lying. There's 6 videos unavailable. So yeah, there's 7 videos that we're gonna be going over, not 14. I do already have this compiled into a playlist. We will be going over these kind of in order because I worked it out to where this is in a pretty good order to give you a really thorough understanding of Ryan P, who he is, how he came into this community. A couple things are going to kind of overlap, so I apologize. It's just there's good information buried in the details of all of these videos, so while you're going to hear some overlapping information on general things, each one of these videos, I picked them for a reason. They do have more information above and beyond what I found out in CoffeeZilla's video. Obviously, I think CoffeeZilla has probably the most comprehensive, especially the most recent video. There is a couple that came out after that we'll also cover, and it kind of gives you a little bit more different information tacking onto this video being released. So the longest that we're actually going to watch is this video series by Clap Seal. He put out like this little 3-part mini series, right? And it's like 40 minutes total. I think we could probably bump it up a little bit in speed, but we're going to start off with the Call Me Carson stuff. And you're going to see why Call Me Carson and Ryan have an interesting relationship. And I'm going all the way back to last week when we covered Dream. He's actually tied up in this, and this is something that did not make it into the truth video that we covered. So I don't know. I think Dream kind of should come forward and maybe talk about this. I tried reaching out. I mean, I'm a nobody. But I tried reaching out, seeing if maybe like Dream's like social media team or something could reach out and I could maybe ask them a couple questions. I didn't hear anything back, so I'm not going to shine them in a negative light. I'm going to allow Clap Seal's videos to speak for themselves, but just to bear in mind when we do get to the Dream situation, obviously his video came out before Dream's response video. So you're going to hear allegations. He might sound a little more biased in his video. He's got a right to that opinion. And I think I still stand behind what I said about Dream's video. I do think now digging into this and seeing what I found that this brings a little bit of shade back to the Dream camp. He's definitely going to have to probably explain this a little bit more in detail, but let's get into it. Let's watch this video. For those that don't know, you're going to get a nice little synopsis history here on the Call Me Carson stuff. I know we just went over it, but you're going to get like a little brief, kind of wrapped up nice and tidy Dream video. And I mean, it's not long. We're talking 11 minutes on the Dream video. Call Me Carson's way longer at 20 minutes, double the information. And this goes off into some things I'll explain a little bit more. I kind of researched them in expecting to do this being a live stream, and you know, if chat or anything had questions, I wanted to be able to competently answer. But this does also tie into Mizkif and Maya and a bunch of other stuff there. Which, if there's any questions about that, I do not mind doing a follow-up stream video, whatever we end up doing, to explain that stuff a little more. But yes, I did brush up on my history with that. It is a very, very, very interesting story. But yeah, let's just go into it.
When Kumi Carson fell into the grips of controversy, as a former fan of his content, I made sure I did the proper
Oh, the biggest thing. Apologize. Didn't mean to do that right away. But the biggest thing is, all these people are fucking Minecrafters. What is up with the Minecraft community?
research. Although, this was different. After all the time it's been, more information continues to come out, and one man stood out acting as the main person behind not only this drama, but upon further analysis, reveals information that is bad on Dream, Misfits, and himself due to his own sexual misconduct allegations.
Yeah, and I do have a video that kind of helps explain who the Misfits are. They're big in being brought up in CoffeeZilla's video. I had no idea who these guys were, but I'll wait till we get to that video to get you the explanation of who the Misfits are. But all these people kind of got that big rise in popularity around the same time. They're all, like I said, they're from the Minecraft communities. You'll see how that all ties in together, but obviously Dream being probably the most well-known for the Minecraft communities. Call Me Carson was also another big personality in that sphere. He was with a group called Lunchbox TV. Dream obviously has his Dream, Team Dream, I believe they're called, and then the Misfits.
That one man is Ryan P. Ryan is a managing director responsible behind groups such as Lunch Club, Misfits, and Dream Team. Ryan has a large
I think I said Lunchbox or something, but yeah, Lunch Club, I apologize.
amount of controversy which has not seen the attention it deserves. What you are watching is the first part of a 3-part video series where I take you through this journey of discovery I went on when learning about Ryan. And this video today begins with Kumi Carson. In this series, I will tell you the stories and explain the drama of 3 individuals, all with a link that ties them together. Each individual will have their drama analysed, as this is necessary to help understand the story fully. So in this
And again, huge shout out to Clapseal for doing those videos. They were a big help and just had me like floored with some of the information that even was above and beyond CoffeeZilla's video.
video, I will go over the entirety of Kumi Carson's drama. 2 years of controversy packed into a single video. Then at the end, I'll reveal how the manager is the true antagonist of the drama, so you should absolutely stick around for that. Kumi Carson is a large YouTuber who was credited with Minecraft's resurgence in popularity, sparked the career of several creators, and in 2021 found himself in some controversy which would hugely impact his platform. So, what happened? If I asked you that question based on you having some knowledge about Carson, I would hazard a guess that you would say the infamous 16 fans drama. This is probably because unless you're in a coma during 2021, the internet was on fire. But that's not where the drama began. It all started around March 2020. Unknown to the public audience, members of Carson's now former content creator group Lunch Club received calls and was approached by Carson. Carson would open up to them, admitting to some recent actions that he had made, how he had messaged underage fans and received explicit images from them.
So, going over this really quick. So, just to summarize, apologies. So, Kumi Carson brought his own allegations out to his friend group.
At the time he made the information sparse, Carson did not disclose the number of girls or the age of the girls. During this time, Carson had been reportedly going through mental health struggles, mainly to do with a separate drama revolving around Caterino and relationship problems. As a result of this, some friends began distancing themselves from Carson, but most stayed to comfort Carson to see him through his mental struggles that he was going through.
And if you're wondering about the whole girlfriend drama, apparently, I'm trying to like really summarize this quick and briefly. Basically, him and this girl were a thing, but it was like an open relationship, and someone in the friend group came and swooped in, did a little number with her, and it really upset him and it put him in a dark place. Yada 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 kind of thing.
Backed up by Schlatt a year later, but I'm getting ahead of myself. It turned out that many of the Lunch Club members and Kumi Carson's associates were fed differing stories about what had occurred. After a period of time, these friends would mull over the situation and began putting the pieces together on the correct way to go about the situation, often communicating with each other and collectively learning
In Austin at the time, long dinner, and put all the stories together.
the events of what really was occurring. Originally, this was going to be revealed to the public via ideas such as a commentary video proposed by the manager Ryan, or a lunch club video where every member went over their side of the story. Although inevitably what really happened was Keemstar from Drama Alert received an anonymous tip giving him insight that something was happening behind the scenes, leading to him poking at members of Lunch Club to come forward. I am mentioning all of this because there is a lot of people upset that the public source for information came in the form of the controversial Drama Alert show. Hilariously, in the comment section of this specific episode, many Carson fans were more upset that they had to watch Keemstar for
this I kind of found funny. This drama just breaks really messy. Basically, Keemstar gets in a couple people's ears and he's like, hey, come tell your story on my show. I'll make sure it's fair and all this stuff. He actually ends up talking to a couple different people. You'll see how kind of like things kind of get a little bit weird. There's a bunch of weird individuals that like are just tangentially involved in this. So like I said, this kind of boils down to a guy named Slicker later on, and Ms. Kiff and Trainwrecks, and this was a mess.
Information. Now to preface, I don't like Keemstar or his show. I've made my views on Keem very open and I do not like this disgusting man. But I believe getting upset over the whistleblowers going on Keemstar's show to reveal the information is wrong. It's not that big of a deal, and whilst I do not like Keem, he still runs a news show and this was news. It wasn't the first choice.
Alright, so the people that we got here, the top one is Noah Hugbox. We're going to see some more information from him later on. I do have a bit of a twit longer that we'll go over. He has a lot of different information that he covers in a twit longer. And then the other person, I don't think actually put a story out that I know of. I think they're more of like a supporting friend. And again, this is just going over the Carson stuff, but the Call Me Carson stuff involves Ryan and therefore involves other things. So it's just kind of hard to explain. It's just there's one big tangled ball of mess.
And Keem had already received a tip-off about the situation. Say what you will, but it's not even a big problem to begin with, so I don't think it's worth the time. Lunch Club members Travis and Noah Hugbox would appear on the show to broadcast some of the drama that had gone down. This was published on the 5th of January 2021, even after all the time they had from March 2020 to...
So we are literally, it's literally 3 years, almost exactly. Well, no, yeah, we are exactly. It is January 5th today.
January 2021, Noah and Travis still withheld a lot of information. Much of the interview deals with a lot of speculation on top of what we knew as facts, meaning that we knew Carson had sex with his fans, but the age and number of girls was still a confusing topic. They even stated that they had no clue if this behavior was continuing, or if Carson had stopped. Although what we did find out from Travis and Hugbox was that they see girls with a plural, implying that there were more than one. Both Travis and Hugbox said they did not know the girls involved, and that was about all the information we had at the time. They never gave an age to the girls or any specific information. This is likely because as many different stories were told, and it seemed each of them had been given slightly altered information, they are unsure which was really true. So now we're into the public reception to the drama. This was the world's first impression of what Carson was doing, and we're ready for public feedback. Let's begin with the first leaked series of texts with the girl Sam. This is the largest public document of Carson's DMs with these women, so this is the best judgment based on what...
And obviously, if you want to go through this, feel free to slow it down. This is kind of old drama. There's a lot of videos out there, but like I said, I think this wraps it up nice and neat and tidy.
His other DMs would look like. Lastly, just a preface, this is cut into some of the worst DMs. There are more from this leak that I've linked below, and the context for the conversation is what they wanted their relationship to be. Man, it's been so hard not messaging you. I'm scared I want to talk to you for the wrong reasons. What if subconsciously I only want it because it turns me on or something? I want a girlfriend, but I'm scared of having a girlfriend. Should we stick to the plan? Not talk for a year, maybe meet at PAX? All I know is every time I do the thing now, I have a really hard...
Alright guys, like, seriously, it's, look, I am not, like, the epitome of physique. I am not the epitome of, like, physical sense, in a way. I've got my flaws, I'm sure. Well, I know I got flaws. But, look, it doesn't take much to get out there. You don't live your lives online. Like, I think this should be a relaxing environment. You come, you point, you laugh, you make fun of stuff, you learn stuff and all that. But like, these people, time and time again, we've seen like just live literally in that little like bubble that is their world, and where they are the world to these other people, and it just breeds this bad stuff. I can't speak to this guy's intentions, whether he's always an awful person or whether he became an awful person because of the environment that he was put in, but I can't defend it. That's for damn sure. I mean, what happened with Carson, there's obviously way worse stuff, especially when you get into like Lion Maker and all that. That was really awful. But anyway, getting off on tangents.
Time not thinking about you. I guess my brain got stimulated and now it wants more, you know? Sorry, I was in school, but yeah, I get that. Every time I go at it, I just want to give in again. You've got me f***ed up, Sam. What if we read on Snap, and next time you're horny we can have some fun again? And look, whilst the DMs are weird, 19 and 17-year-old relationships are not illegal. Only Twitter can find a way to make it illegal. What is illegal is the distribution of explicit images which can be seen as weird coming from a 17-year-old to a 19-year-old. In this scenario, it is a very small case for a large amount of misdeed, and can be excused. Most of the internet at the time suspected that this was the girl and this was the drama.
And I think, if I remember right, Clepsio gets into this, but a lot of it comes down to not necessarily like the big age gap. The age gap's a part of it, but this is a true power imbalance type situation. You're talking about someone who's literally a no one, a fan, or whatever you want to call them, and then you've got someone who's mainstream, making good money, and out there being flirty with you, saying stuff and everything. It's not a good situation. And we just see it happen again and again and again in all these different communities. But it seems to be really prevalent in the Minecraft community and the furry community. And I don't know why. Maybe there's underlying reasons.
So what I just said about 19 and 17-year-old relationships was the only conversation to be had. Although, obviously, this doesn't end here. As previously mentioned, this girl clearly wasn't an isolated case, and there is still further drama that is separate to the girls. Before we get to that, let's take a look at some more statements from some of Carson's friends, which themselves contained more information. On your screen now, I have 3 tweets made about the drama, each giving their series of events from where they are at with Carson, all from which having the similarity that they cut ties with Carson after the information had been provided to them. These people being Ted, Cooper, and Slimesicle, all former members of Lunch Club. To read them themselves, I have left all the links in the description and further reading on some more information. To summarize, C-Scoop wrote a short piece saying that he had also received the information that the others received and stood with Travis and Noah Hugbox for going on Drama Alert. I didn't feel well enough mentally at the time to be interviewed, but thank you to Noah and Travis for going on. Slimesicle wrote a much more serious piece on how what had occurred was illegal, and he had forwarded information to what he dubbed the proper authorities. This is not drama. This is an alleged federal felony involving a child. As soon as I knew about this, I took every step to protect the unnamed victim and report the information I had to the authorities. Charlie spoke on how he had also cut ties with Carson, and included a mention to how Lunch Club, or at least their manager, had also proposed a final Lunch Club video, but that was scrapped. Although the Lunch Club manager had asked about a final March drop or a goodbye video. I refused these because I no longer want to be associated with Lunch Club, which ties back to what I said before about the Lunch Club final video that would have been made about the drama. I feel as though the actions taken by Slimesicle is a bit extreme, more on the side of including law enforcement, although nothing came of this, and all that really happened was Charlie distanced himself from Carson, which is completely respectable. Finally, we reached Ted, who wrote that he had cut ties with Carson and had deleted the videos on his channel that included Carson out of respect for the victims. Something that caught my eye, probably because I hyperanalyze everything to do with this drama, is the line which reads, "When I saw the DMs posted by some of the women that came forward," which is important as it specifies that there are more than one, that Sam was not an isolated case. On Twitter, one of Carson's associates, Joko, from whom he had collaborated in the past, showed DMs from a group chat where Carson had been talking about the drama right after it had occurred. Although what really caught my eye here was during a slideshow of messages shown at the end of the video, and it comes in the specific message here. You probably know where this is going, but it's the wording he chose of a couple of viewers, leading to the belief that there are more than one involved. So therefore, there is a complete reason to believe that more girls were involved, at least enough to raise suspicion, especially for me. So let me give you a rundown of where we're at so far in the video. Carson engaged with an unknown number of girls who are fans of his channel. He opened up to his friends who after some time went on Drama Alert to reveal the information to the public. Each of them heavily implied that there are more fans involved, although none gave any evidence aside from personal anecdotes and hearsay. That is the largest question I currently have, and I will attempt to answer that. Although to approach this linearly, I will discuss some more events that reveal other information, and then we can round off the video attempting to answer that question as much as I can. So that brings me to the final Lunch Club member. We've been over Ted, C-Scoop, Charlie, Travis, and Hugbox. Now we reach Schlatt, and Schlatt handled the situation very differently. Schlatt used YouTube as his platform to express his side to the situation. On the YouTube channel The Weekly Slap, in a 6-minute video simply titled Carson, Schlatt went went over some of the finer details of what had happened behind the scenes. He gave insight into the ways Carson would talk to his friends so vaguely that it was easy to misunderstand such basic information such as time, age, and number of girls. Schlatt detailed how he and the other friends had to learn by themselves that Carson wasn't a reliable source with all his vague and misleading information about everything that had occurred. They had no way of knowing if Carson had ever stopped, and on more than one occasion he didn't. So in that light, after attempting for a bit alongside other friends to try and guide Carson through this, he inevitably also cut ties with Carson. What this video demonstrates is how Carson would treat his friends in the situation, and more graphic detail would come after that. But that never happened for a while, and Schlatt's video was the final noticeable piece of information that was public for a decent length of time. Carson would take many months off YouTube and the internet as a whole, although after a while began to seemingly post and make random appearances where it seemed as though he would be returning. It began with tweets that would be randomly deleted, the exact same with Instagram stories. Then some of Carson's associates on livestream would mention how Carson had contacted them. Most notable was Connor Eats Pants and Raccoon Eggs, who both made mentions that he was getting better, and Raccoon would go even further to say that he was planning a comeback. All of which would lead to a Misfits livestream where Carson made a live appearance and made the note as he was leaving the stream that
And so now we reach the whole Call Me Carson meets Mizkif kind of thing. So you got to understand kind of some dynamics here. So you got Carson on his way down. He's at his rock bottom trying to come up. And Mizkif is also on trying to get that upswing, right? And so he's like, well, I'll take this person who's well known in the community, controversial or not, and I'm going to use him to get exposure and get people in. Even if they're hate views, we're just going to like pick on this guy, whatever. And I'm just going to use him to help build an audience that want to come see me and see what I do. I'm very confident in stating that I think that's what was going on in his mind. It's obviously an opinion, but that's the strongest opinion I can build on this, and it seems to go in with a lot of things. Now, what happens later on is Mizkif eventually builds up some more status. With that comes his group of people that he's friends with. One of them is Slicker. Slicker does some awfully weird stuff at a party involving a female that I think is like tangentially tied to the group. Anyway, Mizkif tries to like orchestrate this whole thing to like get her to change her story from what it sounds like. And then Trainwrecks kind of picks up on it, calls him out. There's a bunch of really fun calls and just information out there. This story is so bad, it's good kind of thing.
That he would be returning soon. This would all accumulate on the 24th of August 2021, where Carson would post his first video since he left titled Moving Forward. This video is 1 minute and 21 seconds long. In the video he says he is returning as usual, and all the further revenue after expenses will be donated to charity over the next year. The video does not discuss any of the drama, instead chooses to, in his words, turn a bad situation into a good one. The video was met with good reception. Even by my standards, I quite like the no bullshit direction of the video. And to fans of the channel who are just regular viewers like me, it is true that I don't deserve any apology, as I've had no negative effect come on my life because of this. Although one of Carson's...
That's a really good, honest take that, like, you never really hear, like, we kind of get, as audience members, we get wrapped up in this almost feeling like we're owed the apology, and we're not. We're really not. Like, if you're not directly victimized or whatever by some of these people, like, you're not owed any real explanation. Other than, like, you're trying to hold them accountable, I can see that, but, yeah, we as an audience aren't owed anything. You're only owed something if you were directly harmed. And I feel safe with that.
His associates, Connor01, would make a twit longer about this video, where he expresses concern how Carson did not apologize to his friends and the victims. The twit longer shows a lot of gratitude, and Connor makes it clear that he believes Carson is a good
And I will be going over this twit longer. I have found it.
hearted person, which I may add that I do too. But Carson did not go to distance for his friends and victims after the drama took place. And as we discussed before, he wasn't very good at communication for his friends before the drama came out to the public. So what does this tell us? This tells us that Carson did not handle the situation suitably. Although with what I presented, it wasn't to a severe degree and could easily be chalked up to stress over the situation. Now it's time for a huge leap in time from that to today, where the final piece of information I have is out and we have a lot to go over. On the 23rd of September 2022, over a year since Carson came back, Noah would make a dense twit longer to his Twitter. I've already used some of the
Okay, man, this might be the twit longer. that I actually have. I had the other one, but with all the internet and stuff going on, I think I lost it. So looking at this, I believe this is the Twitlonger that I have. I think if we really wanted to, there's the Twitlongers down here and stuff. I don't think it's really necessary. This one is the one that's to pay attention to, as you can see on the page. Ryan is mentioned a couple times here.
Information from this document in the video, such as the Lunch Club coming out video they were going to upload about the drama. Quote, and I had actually gotten the entire group to agree to recording a video of each of us simply saying what we were told and uploading it directly to the Lunch Club channel. No baseless accusations, no clout chasing, just the truth. At the last moment, many pulled out of the video, then containing more information that further enforces that each of Carson's friends were fed different stories. Ryan, who I am now getting to, had, in Noah's words, naturally Ryan had gone behind my back, warned him, and tried to prep him. This would lead to Carson having a full Discord of friends who were going to act as damage control and aided him for when the drama turned public. I'm not sure if this is where Carson's Discord messages were leaked from, as we know Joko leaked these DMs, and I presume Joko wouldn't be the person who, quote, not all of them suck, and told me what was up. Although I'm not sure why Joko would be a part of this posse and then leak DMs, or why Carson would have to explain himself in a Discord server where people were helping him damage control. So this is not the likely culprit for this Discord of friends that Noah is referencing. Moving on, Noah elaborates more on Ryan's involvement, stating that Ryan would then call him in March 2021 saying, you can never tell anyone about this. The problem for you has always been money. How much do you need to stop talking about this? Saying Noah is all about money would be bizarre on the basis that he doesn't upload to his own channel. If Noah was going to try...
I think this is a really, really, really good point that kind of got overlooked in a lot of stuff that I looked into on this. So obviously with digging into the background, I had to look into the Call Me Carson stuff, look at all these like things coming out with Lunchbox and all that. So it seemed like a lot of people weren't fans. Like there's a very, very divisive break within that community. There's a lot of people that were not fans of the people that spoke out on this.
Try and milk the situation, then he sucks at business. Another piece of information about this document is about Miskiff. For anyone that was around when the Carson drama was going down, Carson made his first appearance on camera again after the drama on Miskiff's stream. Noah says that Miskiff was normalizing his comeback and indirectly taking monetary kickback from him. Miskiff was using Carson during this time to profit off of him, even getting Carson to demo his merch on stream. A lot of people questioned the validity of Noah's information, and for that I must ask a few questions. To begin, we have the obvious question. If Noah says all these things about his friends with or against them, then how come...
I think that Clap does an excellent job with posing these questions because these are very, very, very well thought out logical questions. And this is someone trying to approach this as non-biased as possible. And obviously, you'll see throughout the videos, like, Clap is obviously a fan of this community. He's impassioned for the people that are out there. So for him to be able to take a step back and do this as non-biased as he did, I think it's fantastic work.
No one comes out and disputes what he says. If what he's saying is lies, then this would be extremely detrimental to their careers. It would make no sense why they wouldn't just say they don't stand by him. Second is kind of like the first point, but worded differently. Lawsuits. Noah has mentioned in this document that he has been minorly stressed over a lawsuit because of all this. Not just Noah. According to a Keemstar tweet under C-Scoop's statement a while ago, Keem wrote that, you did not want to be involved at all. You are worried about being sued, etc. in response to C-Scoop not being on the interview. Meaning that the possibility of a lawsuit was on the minds of these members. So, in that context, being concerned over a lawsuit in the same hand as lying about this type of information and about these people are two very different actions. I have no doubt based on simply my judgment of Noah's character that he exaggerated much of the information, and any story will sound bad when you only mention the negative details, but overall I find it hard to believe that what he is saying is wrong. What does concern me is how secretive they are regarding the girls involved. I'm not sure whether this is because he doesn't know or is still afraid of a lawsuit. If any of you know about the drama that Miskiff...
I think a lot of this was fear of lawsuits, to be honest, at the time. Ryan had already risen to power a bit at this point, obviously being a manager. But we're going to get a little more, like, you're going to see how kind of he started within the community and everything else. He kind of was just in the right place at the right time for a lot of things.
Was involved in. Hiding that information is to a degree doing the same thing Miskiff was doing. To make myself clear, they are in no way the exact same. Miskiff was way worse, but the slight hypocrisy is still notable. Regardless of that,
and what he's getting at there is basically that Miskiff used him for clout and to earn money and the monetization of everything else and all that. They also kind of used him for clout by turning him in the way that they did, I think is what he's kind of getting at there. I could be wrong on that synopsis, so wouldn't put it past me, but that's why I think he's trying to draw that relationship. Play.
Information about how Miskiff used Carson and the way the manager Ryan controlled the situation to attempt to sweep everything under the rug still stands, and it's this behaviour which really acts as the pinnacle of today's video. See, whilst Noah does continue in the twit longer about Miskiff and some of the recent drama he was in, going on about how he believes without reasonable doubt that the people around him knew what he did months in advance, what happened there, at least in this video, none of that matters. And the real climax of this video comes now. Who is the real problem here? In my opinion, this drama is more directed to someone else besides Carson. Carson was a weird friend, and like many people was often on edge and lashed out. He made some weird predatory behaviour that in hindsight and to a lot of people including Noah wasn't pedophilic, but was an abuse of a power dynamic. In response to the drama, he handled the situation poorly and didn't take full and complete responsibility for his actions, and kept his friends in the dark about the situation. It does reflect poorly on his character, but not near enough to constitute any removal in my eyes, and Carson just needed to grow up a bit, which I believe he has, or at least it seems that way now. Instead, this video and the drama as a whole reflects more on management like Ryan P and the shady business tactics of the industry, to how snaky friends can use your large popularity in your lowest point for their own benefit and monetizing your lows. People like Miskiff who don't treat you like friends and instead use you then throw you out. This video acts as a warning about a cutthroat and brutal industry that doesn't care about the betterment of its users but for a clean image and money. Those who use Carson and those who will continue to use other YouTubers. The fake people out there who keep getting away with it.
This is a really good synopsis when looking at this whole drama. Again, this is not a recent video. This goes back just over a year ago. So we're January 24 now. This is December 22.
Drama was complex, because much of it was not about what Carson was doing, but the direction behind what he did. Sometimes people like Miskiff will get exposed for the people they are. In his own drama, he covered up for a different...
And just to give a synopsis, I believe, based on timeline, Clap Steel's videos would have been kind of unique for when they're coming out in the timeline. Roughly about a year ago, I think, around this time, there was a bunch of allegations that came out that we're going to get into that are obviously covered in CoffeeZilla's video, but this gives you a little more of the backstory. So we're kind of working from the center of the story out. So that's the best way to conceptualize this.
Different crime committed by another streamer, and that's what they tried to do here. This is the beginning of Ryan P's chaos. We saw him attempt to control a drama by sweeping it under the rug, pulling along Carson into performing damage control, before coercing Carson's friends into being quiet using hush money. The drama might on the surface be a warning against people like Miskiff, but looking deeper we see that the real bad guy was the manager Ryan all along. He was the one using these shady business practices to save his brand, then scaring people with hush money and a fear of lawsuits to...
And you're going to find all of this applies both forward in time to now and backwards in time a little bit.
Keep their mouths shut. I feel like people misunderstand my message and think that I dislike Carson. I don't. He, alongside the other Lunch Club members and other associates, are some of my biggest idols. I even have the signed poster which I framed alongside other merchandise. That's why I followed this drama so closely for all these years, because I cared about these creators and I wanted to understand what was really going on. So if anything comes from this, I want you to understand that the situation wasn't as simple as it seemed. The age debate of 19 and 17 was not the point of any of this. In fact, I almost forgot about it by this point in the video. The one other thing I want for you is to understand one last thing about Ryan P, as this will be what leads into the next video I am making. I'm sure you at least heard about what happened to Dream not long ago, and it might seem weird to think that he never really responded to that, until you realize something. Dream has the same management team. Ryan has his hands in that pie too. I'm sure this is going to go...
So this is where it got interesting when I was first checking through stuff. So when we go into CoffeeZilla's video, you're going to hear a lot about the misfits, and I heard like a tasting about the Lunchbox group. This took me by surprise when I was researching. I was like, oh, so this guy's tied with Dream. And now we have Dream's actual video. We know what he said. This was not a point that was ever addressed in the Truth video. So I think this is something that hopefully Dream can address rather quickly. Because I've got a feeling based on this guy's actions and what you're going to see later, he's a bad freaking dude. And I think Dream would be to his benefit to go out there and put out a statement of some sort. I don't think Twitter this time. I think he does need to do another video. Thankfully, he can keep this one short. Doesn't even gotta break it up into chapters, but I do think that this is going to become another part of the story, and especially once the anti-Dream community kind of picks up on this, I think it's going to really start rolling.
Go well. Subscribe if you want to see me look into that further.
Okay, so that's our first video. We're going to go right into this next video, which is about Dream. I've got a whole playlist for all this stuff if anybody wants to go through. Clap did a great job. He's got sources documented in the descriptions here. Some of them I may go back to. We might pull stuff from. I don't want to cover this whole thing because we already just went through all this. So I'm going to jump literally to this point here where it talks about Ryan P. and Call Me Carson and Dream stuff. I think that's really kind of, this whole minute is more important than anything. Especially because we already covered the stuff we covered, Dream's response. I don't feel the need to go over this again.
Why the hell am I mentioning all this? What is the point of comparing it to Carson? Well, if you recall from the start of the video, Ryan P ties these two situations tightly together. In September this year, Noah Hugbox, a former member of Lunch Club and one of Carson's former friends, made a lengthy twitlonger which drew notice to how the manager of Lunch Club, Ryan P, tried to sweep the situation under the rug and even coerced Lunch Club members into keeping silent over what was happening. But the piece of the twitlonger that relates to Dream is at the very end of the twitlonger where Noah states that it probably came out of left field to a lot of people when I started going after the whole Dream stand thing. But I did that because I know the whole crew got picked up by the very same management. The management that had expressed repeatedly that they had made this go away multiple times before. Therefore, it raises my suspicion that the Ryan P scenario that I went over in the previous video is choosing to repeat itself, this time with an even bigger YouTuber. Of course, I am basing a lot of this off of speculation, and you are free to come to your own conclusion, but I do find suspicion in these similarities and can't say with full confidence that foul play is...
And this is getting into his final thoughts. I don't want to pull too much in because, again, we're talking about a video that's a year old. We now have Dream's response. I don't think that it's necessary to get into Clap Seal's response to the whole drama that was just brewing, honestly, at the time that he made this video. So now we're going to go into the Clap's biggest video, which is the finale for his little mini stream series here. And then we're going to go into this Predator in Plain Sight video and Disturbing Reality. Both of these videos are fantastic. I think that'll give us all great context, so when we get into CoffeeZilla's video, you're going to feel so much more thoroughly educated about who this guy is and what he does and where he's come from than you probably were if you've already watched it. So let's get into this video. Pretty please.
I put a lot of dedication into my videos and their accompanying topics, more so than anyone else's Call Me Carson, who I've been researching for the past nearly 2 years now.
That was the only thing that caught me off guard, was there is that little weird cut in this video. This goes over who Ryan is. He gives a good brief history. Misfits involvement, which I will get into the Misfits stuff. And then his conclusion. I don't think we really are going to cover the outro, or we might take a peek at the bonus content because I don't remember that off the top of my head.
Now, this has led me down a path of discovering more about one individual, which I didn't expect to be so important to the story. 2 videos ago, I made a video about Carson, which if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you do, as it details the journey I went through when researching about Carson. Then to the discovery of Ryan P's involvement. Ryan P is the managing director behind groups such as Call Me Carson's Lunch Club, The Misfits, and Dream Team. In the video after Carson, I will continue talking about Ryan P in my next video about Dream, where in that video I proposed an idea with evidence that Ryan may be heavily involved in that drama as well. The finale you see in the title is no mistake, as this video acts as the final part of those 2 videos. Both are found in the description if you wish to view them for yourself. They detail how Ryan would abuse his power over YouTubers in order to control allegations in shady ways, which among many tactics included offering hush money to those who knew more about the situation. Although in today's video I will continue on in the story and detail what Ryan P has really been involved in doing firsthand, as he is not only involved in sweeping grooming allegations and sexual misconduct allegations of other YouTubers and streamers under the rug, but has his own sexual misconduct allegations. This is his story. Our first impression of this drama came on the 26th of November 2022. User @Pickett would make a tweet that includes a small statement on some of what was occurring with Ryan P behind the scenes. Quote, throughout my time...
I do have these tweets, and I might throw them in the video description if somebody wants to go over. Really, there's a nice thread that CoffeeZilla set up with a lot of this stuff. If you want to like grab screenshots or whatever, or read it for yourself at whatever pace.
Time working with the Misfits and their merch company, I was continually put into extremely uncomfortable situations with Ryan and made to partake in sexual acts which I would only ever agree to after being coerced. Told that I would get a promotion.
This is a big thing that you're going to see frequently with Ryan, is that he uses this kind of like weird abuse of power, in that he'll use money to get people to do stuff, and he thinks money is the answer to everything, and any problem can be solved with money.
Get to live with friends, taken on overseas trips, or made a money offer which I wasn't in the position to refuse as I was underpaid and never paid on time. I've witnessed him perv on his employees in the shower, break into clients' phones to search for private photos, take advantage of men who he has given way too much alcohol and drugs. This was the main part of the drama and sets a scene of what was really going on. We know that Ryan has a heavy influence on the people around him, which gives Ryan the possibility to control the actions of...
So, just touch, because this video is pretty short, so I'm going to try and throw in information and we'll see. Or we won't be able to see. I apologize. Information we will not see. This was not well received by this community. Especially the misfit side of it. They saw this as kind of a real garbage take. And you can find plenty of Reddit posts that are just talking down about Peckett and him doing this, and it's just a grab for attention and clout and all this other stuff. And to give you both sides of the argument, Peckett kind of went off a little bit after all this stuff, and it really didn't show him in the best light either. Not anywhere near the same allegation levels, but he kind of looks spurty. I mean...
of the people around him. And a notable method is by using blackmail, which is seen in how he would offer special privileges for sexual activities, something backed up by Peckett when he says he uses money and influence to manipulate vulnerable people into fulfilling his sexual desires, which I have mentioned in detail in my previous two videos. He would also use this money for other reasons besides sexual, as according to Noah Hotbox, a former friend of Call Me Carson and former member of Lunch Club, Noah was bribed with money from Ryan to keep quiet about Carson's actions and messaging underage fans. So this tells us that Ryan had a habit of using his influence in a variety of devious and malicious ways. Peckett continues, quote, "I know of many more stories that make me sick and give me nightmares to this day. It's not my place to share them, but to others with similar experiences, you are not alone." Then we'll continue in a tweet under the statement by saying, "To everyone that has reached out to me publicly and privately sharing your stories and giving me your support, I appreciate you all so much." Which tells us that there's been more people that have had experiences with Ryan P.
This is the tweet. So yeah, we're looking at November 2022. Clapseal's video came out like a month later, or not even a month later, like a couple weeks later. Well, this is a month later. So anyway, this was a message that was like not really well received, and the line that I see a lot referenced is, "People are aware, and I can hopefully move on." They really didn't like that. I'm happy it's out there. People are aware, and I can move on. That's the thing that really kind of threw it into the community and just was a thorn in their side for a while.
Final piece of the statement, and the one that might seem interesting to many of you: the Misfits are aware of at least some of these actions, and choose to look the other way and leave their staff and audience open to abuse. I have lost all respect for them. Having a platform is a...
Now, he was a member of the Misfits team in some way. Staff member. So for him to say this, he's not saying it from a speculation standpoint. He's saying it from more of a point of authority than other people.
Privilege, and the people that allow you to have one should be protected. So therefore, depending on how much information Misfits members were aware of, this can be very detrimental to their careers. Peckett does note that only some of this information was known by the Misfits. How much of it was known is not clear, but according to Peckett, it was enough for him to lose all respect. Peckett doesn't seem to demonize them or make the Misfits out to be maliciously hiding something, but this, if more information comes out, can be a large stain on their careers. That brings us to questioning some more things about this post. I could not say with a large amount of confidence the extent of this drama is true. This is because Peckett has decided to not...
So, Clapseal's take right here is kind of a very, very good snapshot of what the community reaction at this point in time to these allegations were. So I want to rewind. I really want to get his whole opinion here, just because, like I said, I would not hold this against Clapseal at this point. But at this time, it's a very good understanding of the situation.
If more information comes out, can be a large stain on their careers. That brings us to questioning some more things about this post. I cannot say with a large amount of confidence the extent of this drama is true. This is because Pickett has decided to not provide any evidence, although I will say other YouTubers and streamers stood with him here, such as Noah Hugbox, a large figure in these videos who time and time again has helped provide a lot of information to incriminate Ryan and other bad people. Pickett is also a very well-known figure amongst these YouTubers, so if he was spreading misinformation, it would be bizarre for them to stay silent about this. So it's very likely that to some extent Ryan was acting very predatory towards the staff of these organizations, and to some extent Misfits team is not.
So again, Claps had a very, very, very good neutral take for the time there. So obviously when we get into CoffeeZilla's video, there's a lot more evidence in that to where he's talked to individuals, and you know, as time progressed, people feel more comfortable coming out with their story. Maybe, you know, it takes that realization of knowing like, hey, this is something that happened that I feel like now I want to speak on it to maybe help others never have to go through this. Whatever their reasoning, they're entitled to it. But I just wanted you to understand that if it sounds like he's like in any way team Brian P, he's not. He probably has even more of a anti-Ryan position for this point in time, and a pro-Peckett position. There's some people that were straight like going at this Peckett dude, and there are some people that were like, oh well, look at the people who supported him, and that kind of made them second guess and take a look, you know, further. But nothing really came of this, unfortunately, because there's no like, this happened, this happened, this happened. It's more vague, encompassing statements.
Not acting to help prevent this, such as in Ryan P's LinkedIn. He is a current directing manager there despite this post being made. As for the true seriousness of the drama in the view of the Misfits, it seems it could only be a case of excusable ignorance which may be excused. As for Ryan, well, welcome to the third video in his career. Over this series we talked about Carson. We saw Ryan steer the ship in attempting damage control and telling Carson how the best deal when the drama turned public is to deal with the least amount of damage possible. This even included coercing Carson's friends using payments of money to quote, stop talking about this. In the next video about Dream, we saw a repeat scenario where Dream's controversy kept his friends in the dark over everything in an attempt to keep them from giving the audience a full story on what is going on. A scenario which continues to today. And today, we saw Ryan use his power to gain sexual gratification from people. That is Ryan's biggest trait here, using his power. He used it over other YouTubers to try silence whistleblowers and save the careers of possible groomers and sexual offenders, then used his power for his own benefit. Ryan is an example of a silent figure in the community which held a huge power over those around him. And this drama should give a huge insight into the way Ryan would use his power for himself and the shady tactics found within these greedy management teams in the industry. I would like to give a huge thank you to those who stuck.
Okay, so I think that's basically it. I think we'll go to the bonus content here real quick. Nope, never mind. So let's go into this. Oh my god, mouse. Okay, you did what I wanted.
Alright, so there's been a few allegations coming out now about Ryan P. He's a talent manager, most notably known for...
Do I want to play this one first, or do I want to play the other one? Yeah, I wanted to play the other one.
Ryan P is a name that the average viewer of YouTube is probably unfamiliar with, but he has actually been one of the most important figures on YouTube over the past 5 years. Ryan P is a YouTube channel manager who does a lot of behind-the-scenes work for dozens of YouTubers. He is most well known for being the manager of the YouTuber group The Misfits, but he has also managed Hey I'm B, Cryos, Smitty, Zek, Willen, Call Me Carson and Lunch Club, The Goons, The E-Boys, and Offline TV. Additionally, he and his team have worked on merchandise for Valkyrie, Corpse Husband, and some members of the Dream SMP. It's safe to say that Ryan P has had a pretty big role in the modern era of YouTube. However, recently, Ryan has come under fire from a former employee of Misfits management, accusing him of various acts of sexual misconduct.
Okay, so this is tying back to, again, same timeline, about a year ago. This was December 31st, so this would have been a couple days after Clapseal's video. But I really like what Broly did in this video. I don't know if I'm pronouncing their name right. But he did a pretty good establishing a good solid timeline. And to the Minecraft video, it's actually kind of funny, especially being the involvement. But obviously, what's really interesting to me is these are the fans of this community making these videos. This was not, your typical run of the mill like a Kavos or the CoffeeZilla now has, but oh, sorry. It wouldn't be one of my streams if I wasn't yawning. I apologize. Good Lord, where was I going? CoffeeZilla is now picked up on it, but like, you know, there's like Moist Critical really didn't speak on this back in the day. I don't know if I think he's shared opinion now because of the CoffeeZilla video. Oh God. What else? Yeah, I thought it was really interesting about the fact that these are community people speaking out against what is really an awful person in the community, and he ends up just doing some ridiculous stuff.
Despite Ryan P's importance in the community, and the fact that these allegations went semi-viral on Twitter, I have not seen many people make their own video on these allegations. So today, I will be breaking down the full situation and give a lot of context that I think most people who aren't terminally online don't know about. Let's get right into it. First, I'm going to give some background on who Ryan P's accuser is, because it is important to the situation. Ryan P's accuser is a guy by the name of Sam Peckett, known online as just Peckett. However, Peckett is not just some random guy they hired for the company. Peckett is actually one of Ryan P's oldest YouTube connections. Back in 2016, before the Misfits started, there was a large Minecraft SMP called The Cube. Peckett was never part of The Cube officially, but did run his own YouTube channel and frequently collabed with them, appearing in their Ultra Hardcore series. The two most notable creators from The Cube he collabed with are fellow Australians Strawberry Jam and Hey I'm B. The three of them also created their own Ultra Hardcore server, UHC Zone, which popularized the Speed UHC and Flower Power game modes. Around this time, Ryan P was also integrating himself into the Cube's community, hanging out with members HBomb94, D-Field, and, most importantly, Straub, Peckett, and B. When the Cube SMP dissolved, Ryan P continued to work with the three of them, and all four of them moved into a house together in April of 2026. Over time, Straub and Peckett quit their channels to do behind-the-scenes work for the Misfits, with Ryan, while B continued to make her own content. This went on until November of 2022, when all of a sudden, Peckett deleted all of his tweets and started making vague comments about the Australian YouTube community, until finally releasing a statement about Ryan P and the Misfits. Okay, so there you go. That gives you a pretty good synopsis background of how he got into this community. So there's a community called The Cube. That's a Minecraft community. This Peckett guy, he was from his own community. They kind of, collabed a little bit on and off. Through those collaborations, he got some exposure and interaction with Strawberry and a couple other people and Ryan P. And then so they built a close friendship starting out of this. So then when it comes on later on, Peckett is brought in with some of the Misfits stuff. Instead of summarizing, I will just read it word for word so you guys receive all the information. Throughout my time working with the Misfits and their merch company, I was continually put into extremely uncomfortable situations with Ryan and made to partake in sexual acts which I would only ever agree. Okay, and so I'd like to, I don't know if he has timestamps on this. Peckett's accusations. Yep, so we're right there. Noah's we've already heard. So let's jump to here. I'm sorry, I'm going to try and cut around different things. A few months before Peckett came out with his accusations, a former friend of Call Me Carson and member of the Lunch Club named Noah Hugbox came out with his own accusations against Ryan P. However, like Peckett, Noah did not provide any proof for any of his claims. Additionally, Noah Hugbox is not the most respected individual in the community for reasons I'll get into later, but before I talk about the validity of his claims, I'll go over what Noah Hugbox accused Ryan P of doing. Noah's tweet longer is pretty long and also includes a bunch of stuff about Mizcave, JSlat, and other creators who are not relevant to today's accusations, so I'll not read the entire statement, like I did for Peckett, and instead give a brief summarization. A link to the full tweet longer will be in the description. I do need to give some background information on Noah's allegations. Most of the problems Noah has with Ryan P come down to how Ryan handled the Call Me Carson grooming allegations behind the scenes. There is a lot of debate over whether or not Carson actually did anything wrong in the situation, and while I have previously explained at length about why I think Carson was in the wrong, and even got off easy, it does not really matter what you think actually happened. Both Noah and Ryan are ultimately on the same side in this controversy, as they both believe the accusations against Carson. So even if you are a diehard Carson supporter, please just recognize that everyone involved in this controversy is operating under the mindset that Carson was actually wrong. Also, Noah Hugbox had previously been talking about all of these accusations on his Twitch and in interviews since early 2021, so I may talk about Noah's accusations against Ryan P as if they have been around for years, because they technically have. However, since this tweet longer is the most recent, concise, and popular place where Noah has let out all of his allegations, I'm using this tweet longer as the place where Noah quote-unquote officially exposed Ryan P. But just keep in mind throughout the rest of this video that Noah has been accusing Ryan P of wrongdoings for years. Noah claims that when he, Ryan, and the rest of the Lunch Club first found out about the Call Me Carson grooming allegations, 9 months before it became public, Ryan boldly claimed that he had dealt with these types of things before. Then, when Ryan found out that Noah was finally going public with the accusations, Ryan contacted Carson, warned him, and tried to help him prepare for the incoming storm. Ryan also tried to convince Noah to make a commentary expose style video on Carson instead of handling it the way he did. And in March of 2021, he tried to bribe Noah to stop talking about him and the Carson allegations on his Twitch. This was after Noah had told Ryan that he was only doing content creation as a way of helping his dad, who at the time was battling cancer, save up for retirement. So Noah believed that Ryan trying to bribe him was him also trying to use his dad's battle with cancer to guilt trip him into staying quiet. He then states that the entire Misfits management freaks him out, especially when there is a
Which is so awful. Can we just, like, the fact that a guy's got a sick dad and he's trying to do stuff to take care of his dad, and you're just going to abuse that situation and use that situation to your advantage? This is so seedy.
young audience involved like the Dream SMP. Finally, he ends his tweet longer by saying he is only saying all this to let people know how dangerous these people are, and that he never signed any NDAs, so he probably can't be sued for saying any of this. These accusations are not as bad as what Peckett accused Ryan of doing, but if true, are still not good, as Ryan essentially tried to cover up a grooming scandal for months, for reasons that are beyond our understanding. However, there is obviously a big elephant in the room. The person these accusations are coming from is Noah Hugbox. Over the past 2 years, Noah has developed a reputation of being cryptic, egotistical, and dishonest with a lot of the things he says, so very few people actually take.
So this goes into some of the reason why these people were so heavily discredited at the time.
Him seriously anymore. However, this is a reputation that I personally believe to be unwarranted. The most common criticism of Noah I have seen is that people claim that he is clout chasing. A lot of people think that Noah is only trying to stir up drama so that he can gain more attention. However, I disagree with this interpretation. If Noah Hugbox really was just clout chasing whenever he makes a post about Ryan P or someone else, then there would have to be some sort of attempt at trying to create content or drop merchandise for him to actually capitalize on the clout he would receive from stirring up drama. But by the time Noah began to actively talk about a lot of these issues, he had practically quit YouTube and rarely streamed on Twitch. Since he has made the final tweet longer talking about Ryan P, he has not made any content whatsoever. Is this because he was going to release some epic comeback video right after the tweet longer to capitalize off the attention that fell through? Or because he genuinely wants nothing to do with the YouTube community anymore? Considering that he himself pointed out how he could have made a lot more money by making a commentary video on Call Me Carson, but he refused, I think it is the latter. As for the idea that Noah should just move on at this point, to some extent I agree. It is pretty silly that we are still talking about this 2 years after the initial Call Me Carson allegations became public. But just because Noah should have moved on at this point, does not mean that what Ryan P allegedly did was okay. Both of these things can be.
That's a big key point. Like, a lot of people didn't understand that, and they just wanted to be against these people because of whom they were, and not understanding that, like, no, they're bad just for a whole nother reason.
True at the same time. This thought process also holds true for the criticism that Noah is too cryptic or too egotistical, or is foolish for assuming that something he says on another person's Twitch stream in front of 90 viewers will become common knowledge. Yes, Noah might be a douchebag, but just because he is, does not make what he is saying any less true. I have also seen a lot of people claim that Noah lies a lot or is dishonest, but I have no clue where this is coming from. I have been following Noah's comments on Ryan P, Call Me Carson, and all the other niche internet micro-celebrities since the start, but I have yet to catch Noah in a single lie so far, and have not seen anybody even try to point out a specific time where Noah has lied. I assume people just say that Noah is lying because the people he criticizes are genuinely likable figures, and that he also never provides any evidence for his claims. Of course, that ties into the biggest issue of Noah, and also Peckett's, accusations against Ryan P. There is not any concrete evidence he actually did any of those things. All we really have are these testimonies and a few other creators' words of support. Honestly, I think it is entirely rational to want to wait to see actual evidence before taking any stance on this situation. However, I do want to pose a genuine thought experiment. If Peckett and Noah really were lying about Ryan P for whatever reason, would it not be super easy for one of the misfits to make a tweet immediately responding to the allegations and debunk them? Peckett.
This is a topic, or this is not a topic, a position that's taken up quite a few times, is that, you know, if it was such a wild and outlandish claim, why did nobody, like, directly dispute this? And I kind of agree, like, why are you handling it the way you're handling it instead of addressing things forthright?
Peckett and Noah are tiny creators compared to Fitz, JSlap, and even Ryan P. Any of them could reply to these tweets with something like, "Stop lying about me for attention, these accusations are all untrue and I'll be making a full response shortly." But instead, it has been a full month since Peckett's allegations came out, and nobody involved with the misfits have even tried saying, "We'll be given a statement soon." Noah has literally been ranting about how
Which, tell me that doesn't look suspicious, like, genuinely.
Ryan P tried to cover up a grooming scandal behind the scenes for years, and Ryan has never tried to defend himself against that accusation either. For comparison, there's been an unfortunate trend in the Dream SMP over the past year, where bad actors have been trying to cancel creators like Bad Boy Halo and Sapnap with false allegations, And whenever they make some Twitter thread trying to expose them, the Dream SMP responds pretty quickly by debunking the allegations. Of course, this makes it so that when they do take their time addressing allegations or ignore them entirely, they look suspicious, but that's a story for another day. Personally, I believe that the burden of evidence in this situation is a two-way street. While Peckett and Noah have not given any hard proof to support their accusations, Ryan P has not given any evidence or even a statement that tries to discredit their accusations either. Maybe their rationale is that they think Peckett and Noah are so irrelevant that they would only blow up the situation by responding to it, but by never addressing the allegations, it just seems like Ryan P is dodging them. Especially when you consider that Noah's accusations about Ryan essentially boil down to him trying to help another creator dodge his own sexual misconduct allegations. There are a few more miscellaneous things I want to mention before I end this video. First, according to people on the Misfits Reddit, Misfits member Zuckles has been banning people in his Twitch chat who have asked about Peckett. Honestly, this could mean anything from that he and the rest of the Misfits fully support Ryan P, so that something has been done behind the scenes to remove Ryan from Misfits, but they not want to talk about it publicly. Also, back in September of 2022, TikToker Aviva Sophia detailed her own experience as a creator under Misfits management in a video posted to her YouTube channel.
And I did include this in my playlist. I did not go over it, and you're going to see why in just a second here. But, because Broly really does a good job of covering this, but I do have this if anybody's interested.
She did not mention Ryan P's name at all in the video. In fact, the only employee she did talk about was a girl, but she also had a negative experience working alongside the company. I would recommend just watching her video, but the too long didn't read is that Aviva had a stalker who began to send her death threats with specific dates attached to her business email.
And this is his management team, so this isn't necessarily like finger pointing at Ryan here, but this is the company that he runs,
which was run by Misfits management. Yet Misfits management did not inform her of these threats until after the dates had passed. Like I said before, this almost certainly was not Ryan P's fault, as he was not the one in charge of Aviva's emails, but I think it does follow a trend I have laid out in this video for Misfits management. Finally, I want to provide more context to one of Noah's claims, that being that Ryan P has dealt with situations similar to grooming allegations before. While I'm not 100% sure about this, I believe Ryan was probably talking about either the Fedmeister situation, which was when the female members of Offline TV came out with sexual misconduct allegations against fellow Offline TV member Fedmeister, or the X-Biani situation, which was when a member of the Kiba SMP, X-Biani, groomed a fan, and this was subsequently covered
another person. Like, what is up with these freaking Minecraft community?
Up for years until the victim finally came forward in 2021. As previously mentioned, Ryan has worked with both of these groups, but I am unsure of if he was working with them at the time. It is possible that Ryan was actually referring to another grooming allegation that still has not come out, or maybe Noah really was making all this up, and this video was all for nothing. So, what can we take away from this video? I honestly have no clue. This is one of the hardest videos I've ever written, because of how incomprehensible most of this drama is. It should not even be drama because this is all dealing with actual crimes. Ultimately, whether you believe Peckett and Noah or believe Ryan P does not really matter. None of us have any real sway behind the scenes to do anything about it. Just be careful whenever you interact with content creators online or in person. The past few years have shown that sexual misconduct of all shapes and sizes are rampant in the gaming community, no matter if you are watching the edgiest of Twitch streamers or the most child-friendly of Minecraft YouTubers. And, chances are, even if the misconduct is not coming from Ryan P himself, it is coming from a creator he manages. Stay safe everyone and have a happy new year.
Okay, so we're going from this video. I'm going to roll right into the next one we already saw the beginning of.
Alright, so there's been a few allegations coming out now about Ryan P. He's a talent manager, most notably known for managing the Misfits, appearing in quite a lot of the videos. Now, before we get any further, if it sounds like I'm on my deathbed or I'm going to drop and die at any second, it's because I am. Now, for those of you who have been following this situation,
Alright,
or
so
Ryan P or Misfits, you've probably...
I'm going to let the intro play. We're going to skip the Peckett stuff because we've now covered that to death. But this has Gunin stuff and Hamish. Those are important things because those also come up in CoffeeZilla's video, and it's just important. I have included this, the Fritz, because I feel like this is also another portion that is not brought up in CoffeeZilla's video, but we'll get there.
Probably seen some of the allegations come up before, probably about 10 months ago or so. There was someone on Twitter with the name of...
Okay, so this came out in October. So between December 2022, when we've already had like those allegations that came out from Peckett, and then after Peckett you had Hugbox. After that, coming around to the other side of the year, back in October, you now had Gunin and Hamish come out, or Hamish. Hopefully I'm pronouncing their name right. Their story, especially Hamish, it's rough. I'm just gonna put it out there right now.
He put out some allegations towards the manager of the Misfits, Ryan P. And then just today we had another allegation come out by the guy named Gunan. Alright, so we'll start off by reading the first allegation that came out, the first big one.
Okay, so we're gonna skip over this. I don't really want to cover Peckett stuff. We're gonna jump right into Goonin.
Now, I won't lie, there's a lot to read here, so expect some extremely dyslexic reading. This is
So I do have this as well. We're gonna get into some of this because there's some additional evidence that goes with this. I shouldn't say evidence, but there's just some additional information.
where all the viewers just drop off at this point. I can already see it. The massive spike in the analytics is going to be crazy. But he goes on to say, my Ryan P experience. He was introduced to the Misfits and Ryan P back in 20, where he was around 18 to 19 at the time. He had a huge passion for content creation, and having the opportunity to be with friends with all the boys at the time was a gift. He didn't want to mess it up, and Ryan took a quick interest in him. He showed him what it was like to have extreme money, and I've never had this type of money before, so experiencing it made him want it. He explains how he was going through a rough time with his parents and his family, so Ryan sent him a hefty sum of money to help him get onto his feet and continue getting back on the grind, because he saw a lot of potential in him, in offering him to send someone around to his house to help him fix his issues that he had with his internet so he could continue with his content creation. He was the friend that would try and help him in any way that he could. He was being totally blinded by his kindness and being groomed. Ryan added him on Snapchat after some back and forth, basic small talk, just like that little.
I don't like using that word in this context, and I'll show why. Let's look at... Oh, where is it? There it is. Let's look. So this wall of bright text is what we're going over right now. But I believe... Apologize, I know I'm winky-eyed right now. But I don't think Goonan was underage. But it could be another story that I'm talking about. There's honestly just so many people involved with this. But, yeah, you can kind of see some of the stuff that we allude to in here. I'm not going to read this. Yeah, this guy's a creep. At the very least.
Chatter when he tried to chirp someone up, and he started to ask him questions about his sex life, and then Ryan went on to say if he was hung. I feel like we need to ask anyone that, that's an automatic no. I feel like you just look at people and be like, you're hung, you're not. Like this man, Big Dick Antonio, he is hung. You can look at some people and go, yes, you. Sean Dyche, he's another one. He says that Ryan P was trying to convince him to send nudes, and after some time, he was put in a position where he felt like if he said no, it would cost him the possibility of maybe being managed. He goes to say,
so I guess I should say, I don't know what this guy's age is at this point in time or anything else. He could be technically falling into grooming here. You could not be. I think it's very... it's too hard for me to disseminate, to be honest. But what he's doing is definitely... what's the word I want to use? He's kind of sugar daddying a little bit right here. With what he did beforehand leading up to these questions.
Say that Ryan gave him money and it became like a reoccurring thing until he blocked him, where he accidentally saved his news to his camera roll, probably being used as blackmail because he was scared of people finding out how much of a pervert he was. He goes on to say that Ryan would invite him to little parties over his house. He says that Ryan would occasionally invite him to parties over at his house, and on one of the occasions at the end of the night he asked if he wanted to jump into the outdoor spa with him. That's some real money, by the way. If you have an outdoor spa in your gaff, you want to have a hard look at yourself. That's too much money. Now he said yeah, he'd go to the outdoor spa with him. Now Ryan started to touch his feet under the water in the spa, making him freeze up and just get completely anxious about it. Now he explains he was just trying to just talk some shit to try and get out of there, try and have like some excuse to leave, go and have a shower, where he then says Ryan was insisting that he uses his shower whilst Ryan also showers. Ryan didn't give him any warning and just walks off into the bathroom, where he just starts taking a piss and then says, oh, look at this Goonan. Like, that's some stuff you do with your proper mug. I was like, you don't just go up to some random kid who's 18, 19 and just go, oh, look at this.
Yeah, okay, so we got an age there. So I feel safe in saying that this is not grooming in the literal sense, but it's definitely some like sugar daddy pandering kind of type stuff. It's creepy. It's creepy. I mean, even though we're not necessarily talking about kids in this situation, this definitely is really riding hard on that fence essay.
Just whip out your meat and just start showing him you having a nice stream. That's not really something you do there. And then he then turns around with his hand around his cock, wiggling it, while he stares right into his eyes with his head slightly tilted down, giving me the creeps. I laugh because I didn't know what else to do.
Okay, I gotta look something up, but hold on. You're gonna understand this look. We're going to show you this look right now. There's one way to explain what this would look like. Great movie, by the way. Oh, no. Don't want to play this. We do not want to get clipped. Why are we playing things? I just wanted a picture. Alright, well, I'm just going to go with... This, yeah, this works. Okay. Sorry, that was a bit of a derail. Right here, this picture. Imagine now with the dude with his ding-a-ling out. I mean... I'm sorry, but this is immediately what came to mind. Let's get back into serious stuff.
He walks out, leaving the door just opened enough to catch him looking at me in the shower. After that experience, I was too hesitant to go over again, but a year or so later, at his new house, he told me to come into his room and told me to lie down on his bed and proceeded to show me new photos and videos of a friend of his. And he talked about how he was immediately uncomfortable, froze up. As this was happening, Ryan P put his hand on top of his groin. He told him to put his pants down and he started touching it. He talks about Ryan P knew that he didn't want to have anything to do with this. He then talks about how Ryan P was touching himself whilst Goonan was completely flaccid. Ryan P then finished on himself. And that was quite heartbreaking to read.
That's
there was
so
quite a lot of
weird.
pause in that. It just the sheer shock of it and the dyslexic reading. No one should have to go through any of that. I can't even begin to think what that poor lad was going through. Like,
That is straight essay at that point.
you think this is a perfect opportunity for you to go and further develop?
Okay, so we're about to get into the other allegation that came out around this time. This one is even more like audacious. Like, he definitely is continuing to escalate the audacity of what he's doing. So when we get to the CoffeeZilla stuff, it actually, when you look at it this way, it's not that surprising.
Your career, it just gets flung back into such an awful, just non-caring way by that person. I feel so sorry for the lad. Now, as I was about to publish this video, another person come forward with their story called Remik, also known as Hamish. Now, he talks about how he met Ryan P back in around 2019 for a 100,000 party. He talks about how he was invited to come and do some work for Ryan P and the Misfits. He says a couple of months ago.
Okay, so this story, I don't really do like trigger warnings or whatever, but this story is a little rough. I'm gonna be honest. It starts off pretty hardcore.
He would receive a message from Ryan, and he was trying to come by his so he could pick him up in his new car so they could go and hang out. After a couple of back and forth messages, he revealed his intentions and he immediately shut it down. He then talks about how there was a gathering at the Misfits house, which he was invited to, and was given some things to
Okay, so this is at the Misfits house.
inhale, which he'd never done before, but it was a condition to entry. He laughed it off and just tried to walk past. He talked about how Ryan then stopped him and gave him some of the stuff, saying he took it, knowing that it would alter his mind and body, but not to the extent that he thought it would. He talked about how he was feeling pretty lit, pretty off it. He didn't know what happened or what he was doing. He then asked to go to the bathroom because he wasn't feeling all the best, and then he was led to his bedroom to use the bathroom. After about an hour of being in Ryan's gathering, this is where it gets really uncomfortable to talk about. He used the bathroom, was about to walk out. Ryan was waiting at the door and offered a large amount of money for him to jump into it.
Not just a large amount of money. Like, I really wanted to find this so you can see it on screen. And it gets talked about in CoffeeZilla. We're talking $10,000 for what is about to be offered here. So I'm gonna go back a little bit, but just keep that in mind.
It would alter his mind and body, but not to the extent that he thought it would. He talked about how he was feeling pretty lit, pretty off it. He didn't know what happened or what he was doing. He then asked to go to the bathroom because he wasn't feeling all the best, and then he was led to his bedroom to use the bathroom. After about an hour of being in Ryan's gathering, this is where it gets really uncomfortable to talk about. He used the bathroom, was about to walk out. Ryan was waiting at the door and offered a large amount of money for him to jump into his shower. Nothing else, just have a shower in his shower. He agrees to it because it was pretty straightforward. Ryan didn't request to be in the room or anything about that. After about 2 minutes of being in his shower, Ryan just invited himself in without no warning beforehand, strips off and gets into the shower with him. He talks about how at this stage his body is just shaking. He was so intoxicated.
So $10,000, this guy's offered flat out, take a shower. Okay. Now, I'm sorry, but anybody would be hard pressed to sit there and say no in that situation. That's a pretty substantial amount of money. So this guy's like, okay, well, maybe this guy's just really odd, and he didn't want to be in the bathroom or anything. He's said take a shower. Okay, so he gets undressed, strips, gets in the shower, is in there for a minute, and then this guy comes in, strips, gets in the shower with him, and starts fondling and playing and stuff. And mind you, this guy the entire time, because the first thing he had to do was, bump a line when he gets in the house. It's not good. This is some straight essay stuff.
His body was already shaken, but this time it was just uncontrollably shaking out of shock because he was genuinely scared about what could happen, but he couldn't say anything. All he could see was just a big guy standing in front of him naked, coming into the shower with nowhere to go. He then talks about how Ryan P then entered the shower while he was touching him. Now, as I said at the start of the video, these are all just allegations. There's been no hardcore evidence that allowed you to say these are absolute certain in fact. However,
Okay, so we've gone through all of the leading up to the CoffeeZilla video. So this is the big show. This is why we are here. I'm going to throw this down to normal speed. I'm trying to look. We're running not too bad on time, actually. We're only about an hour in. We're really moving along on some of this content. So we only got 3 videos left, but I do want to watch this at speed because I feel like now that you have background, it makes this make so much more sense. And again, we're dealing with my lovely internet. So, Mr. Beast's video, or Mr. Beast. Oh, Mr. Beast is another named person, as well as Valkyrie, Schlatt, the Misfits. You'll see a bunch of people mentioned in here. We're going to bump this back down to normal speed.
The biggest creators in the world are at the center of a scam, and I don't know if I should.
Okay, so Carl Jacobs, I'm not too aware of. Corpse Husband, I've heard a lot about. Anthony Padilla, I've heard about. Mr. Beast, obviously. Valkyrie, this person I've not heard about. But apparently a lot of streamers, and so from the time that we've gone from the Cube, the up and coming, to the Misfits, with the Misfits, he kind of launches this company and he starts getting into merchandising. I think he was going to work himself into basically being a MCN, multi-creator network. Okay, so I think that's what he was trying to evolve his business into. That's purely speculation. But yeah, just keep that in mind as we go in here. And I do want to change back.
Should talk about it.
Some have been defrauded, others are associated, and most are plain embarrassed. But I don't want to get sued. I mean, what do you think I should do?
Here, have a drink. And maybe...
By the way, CoffeeZilla did this in a very clever way, and I think this whole robot thing is phenomenal.
we start at the beginning.
Thanks. It started 2 months ago.
So if you're not a CoffeeZilla fan, I hope I make you a CoffeeZilla fan going through this.
Hello, this is CoffeeZilla.
I know who you are, and I've got something for you.
Tell me more.
Alright, well this is for sure a lie. There's no way you look that cool.
Okay, maybe I exaggerated the setting a bit, but I did get a call.
Hello?
CoffeeZilla, I've got a scam for you. It's called Revolt. Huge influencers, lies, people haven't been paid.
How much are we talking?
Not sure. Rumors 5 mil, and some of the merchandise still hasn't shipped.
So that's how this was brought to him. This is a merchandise scandal. People are not getting their merchandise. Big creators are being ripped off. And we're going to see this whole thing evolve into a Ponzi scheme, which I hopefully don't have to explain what a Ponzi scheme is. Hopefully people understand that. I believe CoffeeZilla does an explanation in here of what a Ponzi scheme is, but if not, I'll cover it. It's really kind of a simple idea.
You interested?
Yeah, can I source you?
Nah, keep me anonymous on this one.
Now this sounds more like the coffee I know.
Yeah, you're missing the point. After getting this call and finishing my very important business, I started digging around. But the same word kept cropping up.
So you have heard of Revolt. Can I put this on the record?
No, keep it anonymous.
Alright, this is great info, but how do you feel about going public?
Sorry, keep my name out of it. Keep me anonymous, please.
Yeah, I can keep you anonymous.
I'm going to pause to also show some things that that way you can just get a better picture. Not that CoffeeZilla doesn't do it justice. He definitely does the story very thorough justice. But just so that you can kind of see.
Sure. I was hitting a wall and I was getting frustrated. Little by little, though, a picture emerged. Not fully on the record, not fully off. The voices of more than a dozen anonymous calls complaining about this one merch company, Revolt, run by a guy named Ryan Piacente.
Isn't he the guy who runs the Misfits?
Yeah, the YouTuber group. And believe me, they'll be involved later. The point is, I was hearing about this merch company, Revolt, and everyone said in 2019 through 2021, it was extremely successful, working with everyone. And of course, in exchange for this success, Revolt was happy to take a cut of each of these merch drops. In fact, I obtained some of Revolt's sales numbers from 2021, showing how much only 5...
Okay, so we got a couple different unnamed creators on the left. Roughly moving merchandise in the center, units sold, total revenue, total profit. So I want to give you a little bit of maybe some accounting insight here if you're not familiar. So revenue would be the dollars that they receive in from selling, say, a $20 shirt, okay? Now their profit would be, okay, you take that $20 shirt, you minus your $13 in costs to get that shirt from start to finish. This is how much we made on that shirt sale. So in a $20 shirt, they might be making $7 profit. $7 times the units sold would give you the profit. The total value of the shirt times the units sold is where you're getting your revenue.
of their drops made, 20 million in revenue. I mean,
That's huge.
Mind-blowing numbers. These creators, who I've hidden...
That's a pretty significant company now. I've worked for a couple multi-million-dollar companies. That's for a small business in the stance of it's a small team of people. That is a huge, huge, huge cash flow.
For privacy, made $12 million. Revolt, for their cut, should have made $4 million.
Okay, so good idea right there it gives you. So the influencers would have made 12 million, Revolt would have made 4. If you take that 12 and 4 together, you get 16, and then the $20 million company, it costs them roughly $4 million, say, for the business. So obviously part of the money is going to the influencer, part of the money is going to them for providing the product.
Now that is a mystery. How do you screw up such a business making so much money?
That's what I wanted to find out. Problem was, no one would go public.
Then you have nothing, right? Rumors, innuendo, maybe. But if no one will talk...
No, that's the thing that kills me about this story. Most of the creators did talk. Employees talked. Everyone behind the scenes, they couldn't stop talking. This is why I'm struggling with this story. If it was just off the record, I'd kill it. If everyone was on the record...
It's an easy story.
Right, but it's neither. I'm in limbo.
Well, let's just get to what the accusations are then. Anonymously.
I was just getting to that.
Okay, so we're going to start off with CoffeeZilla, again, being a more financial crimes individual. You're going to see this from the business side first. This stuff we've not covered. When we get into the other allegations, it's going to make more sense, but just understand, and I'll try and provide some insight here and there that I can.
As I was saying, Revolt made huge profits, massive merch drops, but there was another side of things. Ryan Piacente had a spending problem. He took 6 private jet trips in a month.
Now, if he doesn't own the jet, if he's either... So there's a couple different ways when you're getting the Uber wealth that you can work the whole jet thing. I don't know.
Thousands of...
Okay, so this gets into another allegation here, but with jets, there's people that are affluent enough to own the jet outright. Then there are people that have kind of almost like a timeshare with the jet, to where like maybe it's a group owns the jet, and based on need, they might call the group, say, hey, I need the jet for this weekend. The group will say, yep, no problem. He pays for his fees, his fuel, whatever, and he rents a pilot and they go. They might have a dedicated pilot on staff. It's just, I've seen this run a couple different ways, so it is only profitable to own a jet if you're significant wealth, to where basically you can lease it and sublet it to other people. But Nobu West Hollywood, and we're going to see some accusations like this is some absurd level spending.
Dollars every night on dinner. We have receipts for, by the way. They spent $25,000 a week to rent a mansion in LA.
This drives me nuts. I do not understand this. Oh my god, that is so much money. 25,000 times 52. I can't calculate off the top of my head, but you figure that's probably what 10 is 250. So 5 tens. There's $1.25 million. So this is like 1.3 mil a year that they're paying just to rent this.
And they rented a Ferrari for $20,000 for a week.
Okay, I want to, because this is my little expertise here, we getting into car stuff.
Rented a Ferrari.
Okay, so this is a car rental, $1,000 a day. They rented it for 2 weeks. Okay, so $14,000 or $1,000 a day, 14 days. That gets you the $14,000 tax, insurance because you got to get insurance through them because this is specialty car rental stuff. Your deposit, and there's the total. So for 2 weeks, he rented this car. This is absurd. I kind of am almost curious. Depending on where he rented it, it could be for Rob Ferretti. He's big into the exotic car rental, so it might be worth checking into.
Ferrari for $20,000 for a week. But the thing was, it wasn't really Ryan footing the bill. It was
And I want to go back. I'm sorry to keep repeating this.
In LA.
So right up here is what we're going to be paying attention to. So it's Ryan. Oh God. I can't. Build to Ryan and Revolt. So he's throwing this under the company. Now, depending on how your business is structured and stuff like that, like it's not uncommon to have like business expenses. Say I have Patrick Corporation and I want to take you, chatter viewer, out to dinner, and it's a business type dinner and we're going to talk about like proposals and stuff like that. I can write that off for taxes. Then you get into, there is stuff where like people incentivize trips and all that. They can get into tax write-offs and everything else. So, but if he's just doing this just to blow the money.
And they rented a Ferrari.
There we go. Build to, again, with the Revolt Enterprises. So he's throwing this stuff under the business. Depending on how it flows into the business and how he's claiming it, you can get into some sketchy, allegations of tax fraud here.
For $20,000 for a week. But the thing was, it wasn't really Ryan footing the bill. It was actually
Revolt.
Right. Even as this company's raking in money, hand over fist, they were spending more than they could afford, which was brought up to Ryan as a problem.
So why aren't...
Before we get into this, so again, I want you to think back to that $20 million valuation. $12 million is going to the influencer. That means there's $4 million basically profit for the business. Now, if you're smart with your money, you're rolling a lot of that profit into making your business make more money. Instead, with him, he's taking and spending like $1.3 million a year on a freaking mansion. $20,000 to rent a Ferrari for 2 weeks.
You're a millionaire.
He spends...
Mind you, that's 10%. Like, depending on the Ferrari that he's renting, a 458 Spider would probably be a common one, or a California or something like that. I mean, these are $250,000 cars roughly. And he's paying 10% of the value of the car just to drive it for 2 weeks, okay? So, again, we extrapolate that, take 52 divided by 2, 26 times 20. You're talking well over almost double the car value that if he were to rent it for a full year. Just to give you an idea on how much inflated these prices are.
It's money like a... money, yeah. Did you always spend money like an idiot?
Yeah, I've always spent money like a... I mean, the thing with money is I like to be able to provide that experience to everybody. So a lot of the money that I spend is actually on other people for the most part because I'm just like, yeah, let's...
I did want to take a picture or take a peek at something here.
The thing with money is I like to be able to provide that experience to everybody. So a lot of the money that I spend is actually...
Now, this stuck out to me. You might ask, why does it stick out? Well, this is either someone's personal vehicle. It's a right-hand drive vehicle. It's got a spoiler and everything else. So it could be... I'm trying to see if I could tell anything about it. I can't really, off the top of my head, tell you what the vehicle is. But the wrap alludes to this being a rally vehicle. And what I mean by that is there's things called Bull Run, where these uber wealthy people will take their exotics and run them across the country from New York to LA. This is a popular thing. There's a couple different events like this throughout the years. Like if you follow the uber wealthy car scene, it's ridiculous. But this looks like it's probably over in Europe. Why they got a wing on the back of probably a front wheel drive vehicle is beyond me. But it doesn't look like an exotic based on the A-frame. But yeah, this kind of spoke to me when I saw it. It almost looks like it's like a rally type vehicle.
Actually on other people.
We get any more? Door handles and everything inside. I would almost want to say this leans towards like a Volkswagen.
People for the most part, because I'm just like, yeah, let's do it. Let's have fun.
By the way, if you didn't know, I'm that big of a car nerd. I'm that big of a car nerd.
Yikes. So they just spent it all? Is that it? Is that the scam?
No. You're getting ahead of me. Look, mind topping me off?
Sure. If it'll get you to spill the beans.
I kind of wanted to see. His sign in the background is just kind of funny to me. Sorry, I just wanted to pause to read that.
So what else?
Well, the spinning part was just the start of it. At this point, Ryan's plan was described to me by a source who knew him as Creator A does a drop. Ryan would...
Okay, so this is going to break down a Ponzi scheme. A Ponzi scheme is an elaborate scheme. It's been, good lord. It's been around for a long time. I believe it kind of was created in the 20s, 30s. That's where you get con man. A con man is actually a confidence man, establishing confidence in him to take your money, and you think that he's going to take that money and have that money make you money. Instead, he's doing shady stuff with it. So con man is an appropriate title here. But yeah, we're going to get into what a Ponzi scheme is here. So I'm going to go back just a second.
Well, the spinning part was just the start of it. At this point, Ryan's plan was described to me by a source who knew him as Creator A does a drop. Ryan would then spend a large chunk of that on private jets, Nobu, Balenciaga, and then Creator B does a drop, but Creator A still owed money. And so Ryan pays Creator A with Creator B's money. Little Ponzi-ish, if you ask me. But the key here is that this works as long as each merch drop is bigger than the last. You can keep paying for everything. But Revolt was starting to have issues. According to former employees, Revolt had terrible logistics experience, which is okay when you sell 400 units, but when you sell 40,000 in one day, that's a problem. Not only that, Revolt is starting to pull in bigger and bigger talent, and these influencers are demanding bigger and bigger minimum guarantees. Ryan agrees, but things aren't like before. Some of those merch drops underperform. Now Revolt owes money not just to minimum guarantees, but they also were counting on these new merch drops to pay their older clients.
Okay, so you get into a situation where now I owe my backlog of clients, plus the person that was supposed to help me pay that backlog of clients, their merchandise is not doing well. So you get into this like death spiral that kind of occurs.
So they start delaying payments.
Here we go.
This is probably one of the more creative solutions that I've seen to trying to get out of this death spiral. Yeah, it gets interesting.
That's right. For the first time, creators, they start actually posting about their experiences. Not off the record, publicly.
Honestly, it's actually a really nice t-shirt, like in a chill way.
Thank you. We're not going to talk about the company I made it with because they stole everything from me.
So, okay, like I get they're a bad company. Can you put me on their send list, please? Just like for everyone. I'll take all their merch.
Dude.
So you get looking at this from the creator side. You have let's say Tubbo for this case. Tubbo wants to put out a shirt line, right? So he's got like 5 shirts. He's gonna sell them for $30 a pop. And they say, okay, we project that you're gonna move 100,000 units, right? That's a pretty significant order. So of that 100,000 units, basically, you're going to make. They'll calculate it out and say, 100,000 and $30 a shirt. So we're going to break this down pretty simple and say, okay, you're going to make $1 million off of this line. Okay. So $1 million would go to him. Well, the other $1 million that they profit from this then goes to the company. And then there's another share of that money. I say another $1 million that's going to pay for basically the materials, the manufacturing, the logistics, storage, and all that.
I'm not sure anyone will ever make.
So Tubbo in the end would get $1 million because they're projecting this much. They're saying basically in writing, you're going to get this much. Okay.
Much with them again after recently.
It was finally happening. Big creators had started to talk about revolt. Carl Jacobs said they're the worst people ever that just blatantly lie. Smosh founder Anthony Padilla says Revolt still hasn't paid me. It's been months. Now,
Smosh, that's a whole nother thing we'll get into sometime.
I should say, for the record, that he eventually got his issue resolved. But underneath his post, another creator posted, Niachu, saying they haven't paid me either. Now, I called her, and for the first time in this case, I got a breakthrough.
I am Nikki Niachu. I'm a Twitch streamer, and Revolt owes me $300,000.
That is like heartbreaking. Because you figure if they're owing her $300,000, again, roughly a third of that probably is what their profit would be. So you're talking $400,000, and another third roughly would go towards the revenue, or not the revenue, the production, purchasing, and all that. And so you're saying a $500,000 deal here.
That's so hard to hear. That's so unbelievable.
And it wasn't just her not getting paid. She explained that also people who ordered from her, some of them didn't even get their order.
After everything.
Which looks awful for a creator. Like if I've got a shirt line and I'm saying, you know, go support and get the merchandise because that merchandise, you purchasing it supports me. And then you're going and you're supporting it by buying a shirt. You're never getting the shirt. I'm never getting my money. It's just an awful situation. This is that death spiral of a Ponzi scheme.
Was shipped. First of all, a lot of people in Europe didn't get their merch. And I messaged them about it and they said, yeah, we'll look into it. Never did. A lot of my friends who bought merch never received it.
To this date.
Yes.
These orders, which were in 2022,
yes,
have not been sent out or received.
Yes.
Now, as bad as that sounds, as I looked closer, I realized this was common, really common. Delays, missing orders. Sometimes the order would just be wrong, like when they sent out a pin collection but forgot the pins. Now, because of this, an insider at Revolt told me that in December of 21, they had over 100,000 customer support tickets open for quality issues.
That is absurd, okay? When you get to this level, this is kind of getting into manufacturing production and things like that, which I'm familiar with. The stuff I deal with is a little bit different than t-shirts and merchandise like that, but that's huge. I don't understand how in December of 21 they had that many open customer support tickets and still live to see 2022.
And items not being shipped. And that gets us to the good part.
In a world where common sense takes a backseat and physics is
What the hell is this?
just a suggestion, comes a movie that punches logic in the face.
Oh.
Are you ready for best pizza of life?
I forgot that he put this like ad thing in here. It's funny.
Bring friends down to
You
Pepperoni
got
Hug
me.
Spot. Our chefs make pizza with heart and special touch.
Tired of watching low-effort content? Then come on down to patreon.com/CoffeeZilla. If you support high-effort investigations, you also get all these perks. But wait, there's more. Imagine.
You know what? I don't mind this playing for him because he does so much.
your name up in lights. It's a $50,000 value. And it also helps us make things, which is good too.
Terms and conditions apply. Please read fine print for more details.
Okay, where were we? Can I get another drink, actually?
Yeah, I'll pour you another one.
Thanks. Remember that insider document I showed you earlier?
Yeah, made me want to sell merch.
What I didn't tell you is that it was all part of a pitch deck for Mr. Beast. See, Ryan Piacente had met Jimmy, and he wanted to convince him to work.
Okay, so this is getting into a proposal. So they brought all this stuff to Mr. Beast and said, here's the clothing that we can manufacture for you. We're going to give you projected units, projected profit. So just understand that from that point of view. This is a little cold analytical business right here.
Work with Revolt. So he creates this pitch deck. You've seen the other creator sales numbers, but there were also ideas for Mr. Beast in there, like NFTs you could redeem for merch. And there were also some financial.
Okay, this is what I wanted to see. So total revenue, remember that's our big number, okay? From that big number, we're going to take out the production cost. That gets us to a profit of 5.2 mil roughly. That 5.2 mil then gets broken up, 80-20 split. Okay, so 20% is going to go to the company, 80% goes to the creator, and then there's additional processing fees. And this could be a couple different things. It could take care of the administration side of it. It could take care of some of the storage and warehousing. There's a couple different things that could be wrapped up in that percentage fee. It could just be a credit card processing fee if they're going to be doing that, or an ACH, which is kind of like a wired transfer. Can you tell I deal with accounting stuff?
Financial projections. On their first drop together, Revolt claimed Mr. Beast would make $4 million. Across 3 years, $50 million.
Okay, so this is another objectives of the proposal, okay? So $5 million quarterly with 4 drops. Year 2, 7.5, 6 drops. Year 3, 12.5 with 8 drops. So they're saying over 3 years, they're projecting, let's see, quarterly. So you have to take all these numbers times by 4. So you're talking 20, 28, 30 mil. Yep. So 30, 20 is 50. So they're actually over projecting. How are they doing this math? So I'm guessing the drops would be like product lines. But if they're saying quarterly products, quarterly meaning 4 in a year, okay? So 4 times 5, 20 million. 7.5 times 4 would be 7 times 4, 28. And then $2 million on it is 30 million. So that's 50 million right there in 2 years. By the third year. Okay, I see what they're saying. So they're saying they're $50 million going into the third year. The third year would actually be closer to 48 and then $50 million for the third year. So it's almost $100 million to the third year, unless they're wrapping profits up. Maybe that's what they're trying to say here with pushing profits forward. So your 5 million becomes 7.5, becomes 12.5 by the year 3. That would be $50 million if you kind of reinvest, kind of thing.
In annual profit?
There's no way.
That's what I thought. I thought maybe the team was delusional enough to think it was possible, though. So,
by the way, there's a very good growth statistic. I cannot talk right now. We're going to look at a calculator really quick. And I know this is going to be off screen, but we're going to take the $5 million divided by $7 million. That's just under 30% growth. Okay? And then we're going to take 12.5, or no, sorry, 7.5 divided by 12.5 equals 40% growth going into the third year. Those are unrealistic numbers. I heard once a really good standard. Anybody offering over 14% growth going into anything, take a very hard look at stuff. 14 is kind of a hard number to break past. So when you hear 30% growth, that's double that number. That's kind of suspicious. That's why he's drawing suspicion here.
So I asked. According to insiders at the company, they actually met Jimmy and started discussing minimum guarantees and how Revolt would 10x his merch business over the next 2 years. But check this out. This being impossible was openly discussed by...
That's insane. So they're talking about this, and then within the team themselves, they're talking about how it's never going to happen.
The Revolt team.
So they're selling them on a deal that physically cannot happen. And that goes, again, into those percentages of growth. They're projecting the 30 and 40% growth from year 1 to year 2 and year 2 to year 3.
Oh no, they knew?
Yeah. And this is where things go from bad to worse. So Mr. Beast gets this minimum guarantee deal to do his 100 million subscriber collection with Revolt, right? But Revolt doesn't sell like they claim they would. It does revenue way below expected, meaning Revolt didn't hit their minimum guarantee.
So what do they do?
Well, this is where things dip into fraud, right? Our insider says, I assume this is when they decided to increase cost of goods, meaning Revolt charged Mr. Beast more for every item of...
Okay, so again, we're getting into some accounting terms here. So cost of goods is basically going into that when we were looking at the revenue minus the production gives you your profit. Your cost of goods is that the production portion, okay? So they're basically saying, okay, I'm trying to think of this in easy numbers. So let's say $10 million, and their projected cost of goods was, say, $3 million. That leaves $7 million. You know, it's say $2 million going to the company, $5 million going to the creator, right? Well, if there is an increased cost of goods, that can benefit the company. You're going to see where this comes into fraud here, but basically, say instead of costing $10 a shirt to make, they say it costs $20 a shirt to make. Well, it still costs $10 to make that shirt. They're just skimming $10 worth of money off of production. Okay? And so they're pocketing that money. And so there might look over here like, okay, the shirt costs 20 million, so it costs double what we thought it would. So instead of having $7 million getting an 80-20 split, now you're talking about $5 million getting an 80-20 split. $3 million is going to the creator. The company is maybe getting like 1.5 and 3.5 to the creator. And then what really happens is there's maybe another mil or so coming in because of their fancy cost of goods tactics.
Clothing than he was actually paying for at the factory.
That's a pretty huge accusation. Where's the evidence?
My question exactly. I got sent this.
This literally goes into what I just explained. So I wanted to pause here because this is a legit invoice. So this is the invoice that they receive, they being Revolt receives from whatever Ganzu Chinese company that's making these shirts. Okay, because they're obviously getting them made and then they get sent to Revolt. Revolt is then distributing. Basically, they're a distributorship. Okay. So this is the true manufacturer of these goods. So, first, second, and third. So samples, quantity total. So we're talking about, like, let's look at this first one. So it's Mr. Beast, number 16, T, black for Revolt. Okay, it's a lightning T. You're getting 1,246 units. And the price on those units is $9.30 per unit times 12.46 gives you 11,587 and 80 cents. Okay, that's how this line reads when you're looking at it. What they're saying is they're going to change the cost of goods to 1,280, an increase of what, 450 on each shirt. 450 times 12 or 1,246 gives you what they would pocket off of just this shirt.
What exactly am I looking at here?
What I just sent you is the pricing sheet from the Chinese factory, top left. You can see the invoice item says RVLT, meaning Revolt, MRB, Mr. Beast. There's unit order sizes and prices.
And what are these ink marks?
That's where changes were made. See, somebody wrote down next to the factory prices, new prices, higher prices.
Did you talk to Mr. Beast?
What's ironic is it looks like they took a flat charge of $450 and added it on to everything.
About this?
Well, nobody would talk on the record, but I confirmed that Revolt charged higher prices to their team, like it says in ink. Revolt charged more per item than they were actually paying the Chinese factories, according to their own insiders.
Who else did this happen to?
That's the thing, we don't know. I asked around, and the closest I got was an answer from a former employee.
Here, this gives you a kind of a quick, they're saying basically a shirt actually costs $10. They're charging $15, and therefore they're making $5 profit off this shirt from the creator paying for it.
This person claims right as I was exiting the business, he started talking about that. The production manager said she could get the factories to write whatever
That's so sketch.
She wanted on invoices. So it's definitely possible this happened more. It's hard to say. What I do know is when the money ran out, it all fell apart.
What do you mean?
Well, the merch business has a lot of middlemen. People who create the shirts, warehouses, store it, fulfillment centers. The thing is, Ryan was running out of money for all of it. What is this?
This is where we're going to get interesting, and we're going to take a break from the video. So,
Misfits merch company going under. Earlier this year, the Salvation Army Arc Memphis received a donation of 100+ clothing items from Revolt Factory, the merch company. This ranges from Corpse Husband hoodies to Swagger Soul hoodies and other scuffed merch. With everything coming out about the Misfits quietly shutting down, it makes sense that they were selling and donating old stock.
Okay, so taking a quick break, I did actually find you can still buy some of this stuff. Here's a Valkyrie crew neck sweater by that Salvation Army in Memphis, and you can see that they are selling it new with tags. So this is actual merchandise that you could buy right now. That's from 2021. That may have actually been for some individual that never shipped. Again, look at that. Looks like we can line up some of those item numbers. At least the schema is going to be the same. But yeah, I just wanted to show that you can actually go out there and they're still being sold. Actually, if you buy 4 or more, you get a pretty nice little discount. Roughly about $6, which is a better discount than what he was upcharging.
They donated it?
Basically, from what I heard, the storage fees weren't paid on time to the fulfillment center, so they donated people's clothing to get rid of it. So not only are people not getting their merch on time, some of it is literally randomly sitting on eBay because Revolt didn't pay their bills on time.
I assume...
And I know that he says according to a former Revolt client, but as you can see, I just showed you in black and white right now, live, I'll go through and refresh this page if you really want. This is, I can go buy right now. Similar items, I mean, let's... Nope, that's not the same seller. I do not want to mislead. There was some... It's kind of hard to tell because I don't normally do this on here. I think these are the same seller. Yep, Salvation Army Memphis. Here's another one for you. Salvation Army Memphis. Here's another one for you. I mean, these are truly real time. So 10 available, 68 sold. So let's get out of these. I just wanted to show that. So we will get back into the video.
You reached out to Ryan Piacente about all this, though, right?
Yeah, multiple times. And we might have talked, but he ghosted me when the next wave of accusations came.
then I think it.
All right, I'm going to take a quick break right here. I'm just going to throw the music on for just a second. I just need to go grab a drink. I am so unbelievably thirsty. So, let's see. There we go. All right, I'll be right back.
I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
I'm gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible.
All right, we're back. Sorry about that. I apologize. I had to grab a drink. Oh my god, I was so thirsty. Okay, let's get back to watching this.
It's time to go public about this. Wait, did you say there's more accusations?
Okay, this is where we get into this stuff now. So we're good 2/3 into the video. This is now going to get into a lot of the accusations and stuff. There is even more than what we have already gone through for Mr. Ryan P here that just shows he's an awful guy.
I mean, the thing with money is I like to be able to provide that experience to everybody. So a lot of the money that I spend is actually on.
Okay, investing. Okay, so this I want to show this because I actually pulled up, ta-da, Mr. Coffeezilla's tweet. This is where we're going to get into the accusations. He does have this. I'll try and throw it in the link for the description. So that way, if you want to go check this out, you can see Goonins, you can see there's Pecs, and then people that like things. It's kind of interesting.
On other people for the most part because I'm just like, yeah, let's do it. Like, let's have fun.
You're a psychopath. Actually, or maybe a sociopath, whatever the difference is.
Operational sociopath.
That is a character you have, though.
Welcome back to the $10 million studio. I was investigating what I thought was a case of financial fraud, but what happened next made it also a case of YouTube's own version of Harvey Weinstein. And I don't mean to say that to exaggerate the severity of the accusations you're about to hear. I do say it to convey the seriousness, similarities, and signal that the following is disturbing. Now,
and, you know, just to reiterate, I feel like he does do a great job of tagging him as kind of like a Harvey Weinstein-esque character. He definitely did a lot of similar things in the community, so.
Now, if that sounds a little too graphic, I understand if you need to click off the video. We normally don't cover these types.
I think he put opinion. Thought he had him in the description here. Well, if not, I have the other. I'm gonna have the post in my description where you can go check it out. For some of this stuff, as far as like Twitlongers and everything else, and yeah, I some of the stuff is graphic. I mean, we've already kind of touched on it.
Of allegation. However, I felt that given we found this halfway through the investigation, we couldn't ignore it. See, it all started last year when there was a serious allegation about Ryan Piacente being a predator. It was made by an insider at the Misfits, the YouTubers that Ryan managed, and this guy went by Peckett. These allegations range from being coerced into inappropriate acts, witnessing Ryan perv on his employees in the shower, break into clients' phones to search for private photos, take advantage of men who he has given way too much alcohol.
Now, mind you, this accusation came out first, but well before Gunan and Hamish and other stuff. But when you pay attention to, like, especially Hamish's story and Gunan, you see literally this echoed almost a year later.
Alcohol and drugs, and a lot more. Now, when this accusation first came out, and at the start of me investigating, there wasn't much in the way of proof. The only thing verifiable was that Ryan encouraged others to get trashed, which we know because the misfits themselves talked about it.
So funny compared to like now when that's just the norm. Like people get f***ed up all the time.
Yeah.
No, he's just the one encouraging everyone else to.
Yeah.
Now, besides this piece of evidence, there wasn't much else in the way of corroborating evidence until October, when 2 more stories came out that had very similar stories to the original, and I knew we had to take them very seriously. In one story, a guy who was between 18 and 19 was told by Ryan, quote, he saw potential in me before being assaulted in the shower. The other guy was in their early 20s and tells a story of how he was invited to a party with the Misfits, a YouTuber group he liked. But in order to get in the house, he was forced to inhale a substance as a condition of entry. Later, extremely intoxicated, he was also assaulted by Ryan Piacente in the shower. Now, let me remind you that these all are allegations. But let me also tell you that 4 other people have come forward.
So just to put that into perspective, 4 other people beyond what we've seen have come forward. We have Hugbox, we have Peckett, we have Hamish, and we have Gunan. 4 additional people? That would be 8 people total. This is absurd how this man got away with this, on top of basically running a Ponzi scheme.
Who know Ryan and corroborated his character. One person says, one day I'll tell my Ryan P story, but for now I'll just say this. This rabbit hole goes deep. This person has been abusing his power and money for years. The trail of victims that follow this man is staggering. Another says, I've known Ryan since we were 16. He was always a weird, pervy dude from the start. Billy says, Ryan P has been a disgusting individual for years. Personally, I've seen him do very questionable things. Yet another says Ryan P is a master manipulator. I myself was manipulated by him for far too long. But that's not all. That's just what's public. Behind the scenes, I began to receive much more. One guy...
Okay, so... yeah, here's another extreme example. So you thought the $10,000 shower was absurd. Here's another example. So just the line of debauchery and just awfulness that goes along with this guy is beyond absurd.
He told me Ryan offered to fly him out and give him $5,000 to cover work. He showed me receipts of this payment from Ryan.
Again.
He then told me I end up going and it's all good for the first few hours, but when I went to the bathroom, he followed me and without going into detail, assaulted me when I clearly was extremely uncomfortable.
This is so awful. And I cannot emphasize enough that there may be more stories coming out. This whole thing may blow up a lot bigger. But keep in mind what the structures of the story look like here. And so you don't have people that just blatantly say blank accusations, which I feel like is very likely going to happen, especially because Ryan has run. Nobody knows where he's at this point. He's deleted Twitter. Please do not look into this guy on Twitter because there's unfortunately a couple other Ryan P's that keep getting tagged and stuff, and these guys had nothing to do with it.
Now, this story specifically has a thread we're going to follow because there's numerous allegations Ryan would use money to coerce people into situations they wouldn't otherwise do, like paying this guy $5,000 to come over for work. Or more commonly, he'd pay creators who were struggling for explicit photos of themselves. People sent me emails they'd get notifying them of Twitter DMs from Ryan asking for explicit photos, along with accompanying payments from Ryan. The reason I'm telling you about all this is not only that it demonstrates this behavior was happening and provides a financial paper trail, but some of it dovetails into fraud. Because as I started asking for some of these financial documents, I found that Ryan would often not just pay people from personal accounts.
And I just want to touch on this. So going back to CoffeeZilla's post, within this, there is, if you go under Goonin's post here, okay, that's going to open you up to this. And this, again, is Goonin's story, but this really interests me. So he shows some... Oh, God, come on. This internet's killing me. It's going to be the death of me. There we are. Ryan sending money to these people. It's just absurd. You know, that's what, $650, $50, so $900. We're gonna cover this too, by the way. I did find that, but I'm gonna close that window out because, like I said, that is under here. You just click on Goonin's tweet or however you're doing it, and you'll be able to see all that.
He would use business accounts to pay for these things, specifically the Misfits business account. Remember, that's the beloved YouTuber group people supported through Patreon, merch, through a podcast. Turns out their company accounts were being used in part to pay for explicit photos of some of the fans of the show. I was shown these payments, and the question is, why even do this? To write it off your taxes? No matter the reason, this is like some weird form of fraud. It's not the kind that I normally like to talk about, but
I don't even know. Like CoffeeZilla says here, it's such an odd fraud. Like, okay, so normally you have like, God, I cannot think of the name. Basically, where you launder money from the business. Launder's not the correct word, but you basically kind of skim money from the business for your personal accounts. It's like an ongoing thing. This is just so weird because he's using the business accounts to sugar daddy.
Who uses their business account for this? We also need to talk about what happened in April of 2016 as well, when Ryan asked a fan, "Can we get married?" When she told him she was 16, he said, "Come back in 2 years," which would be when she was 18.
Okay. Seems reasonable right now, right? Yeah.
But 1 year later, Ryan reached back out, saying this, quote, "I retweeted your selfie. Do I get nudes?" She replies, "That's illegal." He says, quote, "Don't worry, I ain't no snitch." Now,
this guy is thirstier than I am.
I asked the person
and I had
who
to
gave
go
me
and
these
stop a
if she
stream
thought he
just
was
to get a drink.
joking at the time. She responded, "No, I think it was legit because it happened a lot on Snapchat. And he fully tried to give me money to do it." Now this once again corroborates
This is so disturbing.
the creepy behavior we've seen from Ryan Piacente in the past. So for those of you who have been counting, we now have 5 independent accusations. Some anonymous, some fully on the record. We have multiple forms of evidence. First-hand accounts, DMs, payment processing receipts, and we have 4 independent character testimonies from people who claim to know Ryan. Now, as always, I tried to reach out to Ryan to get his side of the story 7 times over 2 months and have gotten nothing in the way of an explanation. The last I heard, he was spotted at an airport, and we have no idea of his whereabouts since. Now, this investigation has been exhausting, honestly, both emotionally and just to carry all.
It really has to be a mentally exhausting thing because even the little bit that I did a fraction of the digging that Coffee probably did, or his team. And it's so messed up. Like, I didn't even find some of the levels that they found.
All the details in my heads of all the accusations, the whistleblowers. So I imagine for you it's been kind of confusing as well. So I want to summarize this piece so we don't miss anything. There's really 2 sides to the story. We have Revolt the company and Misfits, a YouTuber group. In one, Ryan is basically accused of running a Ponzi-type merch company where he spent too much money and needed bigger and bigger merch drops to pay off debts and minimum guarantees. When that didn't work, he resorted to faking invoices to creators like MrBeast to increase cost of goods, while being so bad at logistics that even when creators got paid, their fans received their merch late, the wrong merch,
if not at
or
all.
No merch at all. And occasionally, creators' merch would just get donated to charity, so that's fun too. And that's just part 1. Then you have the Misfits, where Ryan used his...
Okay, and so I know we haven't really touched on the Misfits total yet, but the Misfits is they were a group that did kind of like IRL type streaming. I don't really know how to explain it, but they're a multinational group. I believe they're American, Canadian, and Australian, but don't quote me on that. And they kind of did like, like just weird adventures together and everything else. They gained a lot of popularity. They kind of then semi-retired, started a podcast. The podcast apparently took off really well. They just did a lot of crazy young kid stuff. Okay. That's in a nutshell who they are. This is the group that really built Ryan's wealth, in my opinion, that I can find. Okay. Again, I don't know if he had wealth established prior to coming into this Minecraft community.
Proximity to fame and money to abuse a series of guys and girls through a pattern of grooming, intoxication, and then assault, usually involving a shower somewhere. The damage this man has done is hard to calculate because it's not just a financial number on a spreadsheet. People have stopped creating content because of Ryan.
That's so sad.
Others have had mental health breakdowns, and it's past time we warn people about them so no one else gets hurt. Thank you for watching and supporting through...
Okay, so we are almost done with stuff. We just got a little bit more story to go along here. Let's get into more of the Misfits side of things here. And this person, he's kind of black and white, but does a great job. I'm not a huge fan of this video style, but whatever.
All right, so if you don't know who the Misfits are, well, this is what Google said.
There we go. Misfits in American, Australian, and New Zealand. Okay, so not Canadian, New Zealand. Collaborative group made of gaming creators based in Melbourne, Australia. They had the Misfits, the podcast, and podcast clips.
As they are, so the description's right there. Just look at it.
So this is giving you a little more history on the Misfits side of stuff.
December 2018 would see the first upload to the Misfits channel. And to many people, this was a dream finally come true. They made the transition from friends who just played video games together to a group channel working on multiple different projects. To do this, they hired a manager, none other than Ryan P. Ryan P. Now, with this addition to the crew, they finally had the capabilities to make a podcast and even partner with brands such as JBL and Spotify. But Ryan was also funny, and so were the Misfits, so in turn he began appearing in multiple different videos on the channel. Alright, fast forward through COVID-19.
Virus is coming. Stop touching niggas.
Oh my god.
Put your hand.
The world's a lot different now. Misfits are well past 100 podcast episodes, and each of them are seeing an exponential amount of growth on their personal channels. But hold up, it's 2022 now, bitch. Mr. P has made some big money moves. This fucker now manages multiple different creators across the site.
I'm sorry, but this is just, it's so funny the way he does it. I'm not a huge fan of these videos, but they make me laugh.
As well as two new groups, the Lunch Club and the Dream Team. I cannot imagine how much money he makes off these top-notch YouTube celebrities. It has to be a lot. It is basic human nature to go after as much money as possible. Remember that? I'm only saying it once, and I will remind you later in the video that I said this. Now this is where things take a turn for the worse. Enter Peckett.
And we saw this portion, but it's brief
This
coverage
tweet
here.
hit the streets of Twitter in November 2022. It was made by an ex-Misfits employee named Peckett. It accused Ryan of abusing his power as a manager and preying on his employees. He had appeared in many of the Misfits' most memorable videos, and they praised him for his expertise and talent as a manager. But at this point, a theme was beginning to arise. Ryan would plan an event, not tell the members many details, and show up to their houses with a camera. That worked well because it was entertaining. This tweet would garner a lot of attention online because of its sensitive nature, proving these allegations to be no joke. It had accused Ryan of coercing his employees with money and promotions which never came, perving on his employees, taking advantage of the ones who have had too many drugs or alcoholic beverages, and even spying on them in the shower. On top of these allegations, many other things were happening with the different creators he had managed. Fitz had taken a hiatus from YouTube for almost 2 years now, which surprised no one. The Misfits were fresh off an upload break and had recently made a comeback, and the contract with Spotify had expired, rendering the podcast dead in February 2022. The Tasmania trip would be the last time we get to see manager Ryan in the driver's seat. But trouble was brewing across the pond in the land of the free. You see, Call Me Carson, one of the main members of the Lunch Club, had taken it upon himself to start grooming fans that just so happened to be underage. And wherever you're from, that's not that cool. And I'm sure you all know already, but this man did the same exact thing.
Again.
This is the part
I want to preface this with, this is another video by Kumidu, and it's 8 months ago. I mean, we just got the Dream response video, so take it with a grain of salt here.
Told you to remember that information for. So I'd like for you to sit and think about this really quick in the shoes of Ryan P. The Misfits are slowly making a return to their online platforms when all of a sudden an ex-employee accuses you of some sexual misconduct at the workplace. Along with this, the other two biggest clients that you have are now facing serious allegations about them grooming underage fans. What do you do? That is a pretty tough situation. In the face of these great dilemmas, Ryan P. allegedly used hush money payments to silence the accusers and tried his best to sweep the allegations under the rug. Now, these controversies occurred over a large period of time, with the allegations of Ryan's involvement only reaching full light recently when people began digging into his earlier career because of Peckett's tweets. This is also true about the Dream situation. Carson has obviously turned over a new light, and many of the allegations have blown over as simply allegations. Again, this is also true with Dream. Now, people are just upset about the way Ryan allegedly handled the situation. Obviously, there was evidence with Carson and Dream, but I use allegedly so much because in reality...
And again, we've seen that evidence come apart.
In reality, the stuff involving Ryan is all just allegations at this point. Pekka hasn't provided any evidence to back up his claims, so there isn't much more we can say on that topic. Another part of Peckett's tweet included the Misfits themselves. In that portion, he states that the Misfits are aware of these actions and choose to look the other way, leaving their audience. Them have distanced themselves from the situation while still maintaining contact with Ryan. Ryan has also been seen defending the members of the group online. This tweet right here, where a fan emailed Fitz, and Ryan can be seen defending him in the comments. Honestly, I think the whole situation...
Okay, so I think we're pretty much past. I just want to double check the... Oh, timestamps. It came in the wrong place. I made this video a long time ago when tweets were first posted. And Carson... And he's just referring back to CoffeeZilla's video, but I think that does. I think we'll get to the last
Ryan P. is
video.
a manager.
So this video by Drew came out after CoffeeZilla's video. So this is probably the most recent video we have.
For the very popular creator group, The Misfits, which has creators you've probably heard of like Carl Jacobs, Austin Show, Cutie Cinderella, Tubbo, Ranbo, and so on and so forth. Earlier today, in this video called Insane Creator Scam, YouTuber CoffeeZilla exposes a huge amount of allegations against Ryan, including things like soliciting nudes from fans, encouraging members to take drugs and then trying to assault them in the shower or in the bathroom, and generally using his power that he had as a manager and the amount of money he had in order to try and solicit sexual favors from people, including people who were underage. We're going to go over all the stories from the survivors, but one of the first issues we have to talk about is the fact that this abuse goes back years, but CoffeeZilla is the only public figure that seems to care. Both the abuse itself and the stories of the abuse have been alleged and reported on for quite some time now, but because Ryan isn't a famous or public-facing creator, there was never really enough interest in exposing him. So people who would have normally heard about it, myself included, just never did. The story didn't blow up because Ryan was the guy with the money in the background that you didn't hear about. He's not a common or house...
And that's the thing, is that this is a background person. I think this is really the first time I can think of someone in like the background really coming out being, because typically it's the creators, the people that are facing you.
Household names, some other creators who have been exposed for being horrible people. The first victim we have to talk about is this guy Peckett, who said,
okay, we're not going to go through this for the 19th time. And we've already gone through that. I just want to get to his good assessment here. Hamish. Google. Okay.
Which would be when she was 18. But 1 year later, Ryan reached back out, saying this, quote, "I retweeted your selfie. Do I get nudes?" She replies, "That's illegal." He says, quote, "Don't worry, I ain't no snitch."
Now that is vile and disgusting, and
Agreed.
I thought surely there would have been people that had been discussing this before, some larger figures that would take an interest in the fact that the manager and one of...
And I just want to point out that he basically goes over, just to show you, there's not a lot out there. I think I'm the first person as far as like trying to compile this stuff together and get it so that if you're really interested in this story, now we've at least got it documented somewhere.
The most well-known creator organizations currently, at least in the United States, was doing these kinds of things with his power and abusing people in this way. And so I jumped into the YouTube search and typed in Ryan P, and all I get was these videos with very few views. 21K is the most I found. But the people in these videos are talking about the allegations themselves. But all of the people...
And we watched the
videos,
majority
the
of
people
these
who are actually
videos.
creating the videos are tiny, very small creators. Same if you search Ryan P with a space in front of it. People talking
Again,
about the Fitz controversy, which I'm not completely sure what
we've
went on
watched
there.
several
but
of these.
there are basically no views on any of these videos, despite the fact that this was huge
And again,
and
the
widespread,
Misfits
and
video.
Ryan had a lot of power and influence with the Misfits organization. With how significant these allegations were, you have to wonder why more people weren't talking about it, and I think there are some Reddit comments that sum it up really well. Silent damage control works miracles. I mean, just look at Travis Scott. Man got brutally canceled, quote unquote, and now he features in songs, probably drops an album in the near future, and restarts touring. According to a quick Google search, even his Fortnite skin might be brought back. I think there's just so much fucked up shit being reported on a daily basis on social media, and social media that eventually people just get distracted by other news, posts, scandals, and so on. And then it continues a little bit in this different comment. Little weird that Misfits haven't defended him if he's innocent, but at the same time, there's no evidence, and it can be easily ignored and disappear into the void.
And I feel like we had no evidence then, because please read these dates on these. These are a year old. So this is going back to the original drama where we saw Pekka coming out. This would be prior to Gunan and Hamish's story, which actually back up Pekka's story. We now got a lot more substantial proof. We also have other individuals coming out saying things that are similar. So I think, what is it? CoffeeZilla said we have 5. I think we're between 5 and 8 different individuals. And that doesn't even include all the sussy business stuff.
Voids of the internet. Now, given the severity of the accusations, it is always incredibly important to give the accused, in this case Ryan P., an opportunity in which to actually respond. Everyone is entitled to an opportunity to respond, not because I think he's innocent, but because it's very important to hold that principle of everyone gets a chance to defend themselves.
Yeah.
But I would also be surprised if he does, because not only has he had years as these allegations have been coming out, but also he ghosted CoffeeZilla, who, according to CoffeeZilla's video, reached out to him 7 times over the course of 2 months. And he just never heard back. By the way, if you enjoyed this video...
All right, so that kind of wraps up the content. I did want to get into a couple other things. So, again, I'll throw the links to some of this other stuff into the description. But if you're more the read style, this Sportskeeda did this story after CoffeeZilla's video, and it does a good job at just breaking down the video, kind of getting into a little more information, affected creators. It shows a little bit more of the actual posts and stuff in detail. I liked it. This kind of looks a little more analytically at the business side of things. We already went over that. I do have the game over Twit longer, and I'm just going to kind of show you that I searched for Ryan, and these are the spots where he's getting mentioned. And other than that, this is another cool little post that I found. Oh, you jerk. You jerk. What'd you do? Why'd you do it? Okay. It's just these two pictures, but searching around for Ryan P on Reddit, you get some very, very interesting mixed views. Because, like, this is 3 months ago, so this would have been post-Hamish, post-Goonin, prior to CoffeeZilla. So it's just kind of interesting. We got, like, 3 points of this timeline to look at and evaluate where people stood, and you can see a lot of changing opinions now. I really think this guy needs looked at. He probably needs to go to jail. It's potentially some fraudulent stuff going on. Potentially. Really, I think that's about it. That gives us full coverage on everything. So now you got all the information. You can make a decision for yourself based on how good or bad you think Ryan is. I especially, I think because of the ties, and I think that the ties are going to become more prevalent, that Dream should probably reach out and say something. It's probably in his best interest. Especially with the video that he just posted. Trying to think if there's anything else. I really think that's it. Like I said, I will have a playlist out like I always try and do. I think like that's a nice little unique way, so you don't have to listen to me if you want to go check out the videos. I put them in an easy condensed area for you to find. This one will be titled Ryan P. You feel free to watch these videos, go support these creators. I've tagged them all in the description for the video. I really see this situation evolving a lot more and just becoming a lot bigger of a deal. I'm going to change up a couple things real quick right here so we can kind of get something going. Let's go back to here. We're going to change this to this. So that way you guys got at least my nice little, hopefully fancy. Are you going to load? Why are you not working with me, dude? What don't you like? I was hoping you would open this. Okay. Well, since that's not working, we will do it this way. And then, boom. We will change this to now be this. Nope. This. Nope. Now you just saw me drive. Well, I think we might just end up leaving it there if I can't get this to show up. Where are you? Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? Well, I was trying to show my thumbnail to kind of wrap stuff up. It would have been nice. I guess we're just not going to get there from here. So we'll just go back to YouTube. But yeah, I will post this video out there. You'll have all the links to everything that I can put together. Apologies again. Hopefully by Friday I will have internet and this can be kind of a normal thing. I don't know when this is going to get uploaded because of the extremely slow internet speeds that I have right now. Basically working off a hotspot on my phone. So we'll see how quickly this gets uploaded. I really kind of am interested to see what people think about this. Especially now that you have a lot more information presented to you in a more linear way. Not as cold and calculated, I shouldn't say cold calculated, but not as business orientated. But, I think this guy's super sus, and I think he's a young guy who had a lot of money and thought that he could use his money to get whatever he wanted. And that was his biggest mistake, and I see this becoming a lot bigger issue. I think we're going to see more people come out now that Coffee's put out his video. Hopefully go support the people that were harmed by this individual. It sounds like he took a particular advantage of different people who were in needy situations. Yeah, I mean, that really wraps it up. I will see you guys probably on Friday at our normal time, 9:30. But yeah, leave a comment, and let me know what you think about this guy and what you think about this whole situation. Maybe what you think about whether Dream should come out with an apology or an explanation on this or not. I'm interested to hear. Anyway, I appreciate all the support I've had for everything. I cannot thank you guys enough. It means the world to me. I'm not just saying that to say that crap either, because I'm surprised and shocked by the amount of people that I've had subscribe to me, and I do greatly appreciate it. I'm just trying to do something that I enjoy, and hopefully you enjoy it too. But anyway, that's going to wrap things up. So yeah, come check me out on Fridays at 9:30 Central if you wanna, and we'll be covering different topics like this going forward. Again, apologies for down internet. Hopefully this gets out to you guys pretty quick, and you have a happy new year.